Introduce him. I'm talking to the one and only DJ Kronic or Luke Wild. This
Yeah,
motherfucker
boy.
is an Adelaide legend. Man, we've got so much more to talk about. We're just spitting shit right now, and this is what the whole concept of the show is.
Fuck yeah.
Um, I'm
Thanks for
just,
having me.
yeah, I'm so excited, bro. What the fuck is up?
Oh man, just back here in Adelaide. Stuck.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
How's that been for you, man? Because I know you've been fucking silently working too.
Like, it actually has low key been the best thing that's ever happened to me. I came back. What was that festival? Ultra. You know how Ultra was here in.
Yeah, yeah.
I came back then. Not for it, but like I went to it. It was just kind of just this bizarre situation, right? Like I came back to renew my visa. Ultra was on that weekend. Went to that. 30,000 odd people just at a festival.
Yeah.
A week and a half later, you can't go out. You know what I mean? My visa renewal was that week. Like it was 3 days after the lockdown kind of got put properly in place.
Yeah.
And I got the text from the embassy saying that your appointment has been cancelled until further notice. And
So what's happened now?
well, now it's still not. It's November 30th is the next date.
Yeah,
It's
right.
that'll be the fourth time they've rescheduled it. Like they just keep closing the
Pushing
embassy.
it back, yeah.
Yeah, my visa's approved, but when you get a working visa for there, you have to come back to your country of origin and go to the embassy and do like
You got to
get
do
your
medical
passport.
tests and
No,
stuff like that.
no. Well,
No?
maybe they need to test it.
Yeah, yeah.
No.
I think,
It really
Of course
all you
you
do
do.
is just like fill some forms in, give them your passport, and then they like give you a new visa page in your passport.
yeah, right.
And so
They stamp
like
that shit.
yeah,
And you're going back to the States. Because, man, if you don't do that, the States are hell. Like, they'll, like, be
oh
on your
yeah,
ass about it.
well
Man,
I-
I went to Hawaii
you
and my
can
missus
go-
fucked up my passport numbers and they held me in the embassy and they were, like, asking me all these questions. I'm like, I'm not a fucking
it's
terrorist.
weird. What in America?
Yeah, yeah, in the States. When I went to Hawaii. But
Oh,
she fucked up my
Well-
passport number. Shut up, Mel. Thanks.
it's weird because like people, I've heard horror stories.
Well, TSA, yeah. Have
Right.
you got any crazy TSA stories?
No, well, I have none.
Okay.
But I mean, like I've had friends who've had dramas like a motherfucker, but then I've had other people, like no, I won't say names, but I've had other people who I would have thought would have at least been like checked on, and come on in, whatever,
Yeah,
like
right.
so. Yeah, I could probably go. Like if it was all back to normal and it was just a visa issue which was stopping me going back, I would probably be able to go back on an ESTA and be okay, as long as I didn't do any work that they could prove I'll get or some
Yeah.
shit like that.
Yeah.
But I just don't like to.
It's not worth
Like
it.
I don't risk that shit, And you can't do that anyway now. So what's the point?
Well, they're locked down in the States
Yeah.
anyway, so you have a lot more freedom.
It's not as bad
at
as
the
the
moment.
fucking media and social media
it's
presented
standard,
as.
man.
Like Matt's over there and.
Yeah, how is Matt going? Because
Oh,
you
he's
guys live
fine.
in the same apartment building, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, not anymore. I broke my lease, so I got out of there.
Oh,
Dude,
thank fuck.
I really
I wanted to ask you about that.
when this shit happened, I just moved into a new place, but I didn't like it, right? Like I thought I was gonna be able to like set up a little home studio there, and it just didn't work out. I just kind of jumped into it with like a bit. I was like, fuck. When I get back from Australia, because I was gonna come back for a couple of months, I'd miss Christmas and all that shit.
Yeah.
I was gonna do the visa thing, come back and spend some time here in Adelaide, see the fam and everyone and shit. And I was like, when I get back, I'm just gonna break the lease and find another place.
Yeah.
So then when I found out that it'll probably be 3 or 4 months at that time that I wouldn't be able to go back, I was like, oh, I think I'll just break the lease now. I have movers coming and my shit's in like a storage box right now,
Shit, yeah, at least it's
but
better though, man.
It's better, but now I'm kind of just, chilling at the family house.
Yeah.
Just
And you set a home studio up there for the
yeah,
time
it's
being.
fucking dope, man.
I know you're
I
cooking
was
some
like,
shit in the kitchen.
I was going through some shit last year that really fucking knocked me back. I had like, well, I still do like tendonitis, right? You know what that shit is?
Yeah, yeah, it's when
It's
you
like-
get a massive pain.
Yeah, it's like golfer's elbow, tennis elbow type shit.
Yeah.
I got that in both arms from working. It's not from an injury. It's from just using it way too much with bad posture. Like I even, but all that shit, right? And that really like stopped me from being able to do so much of the work I was doing last year. And that really put me on a bad path. and then, you know.
Well, man, tell people how many times, like how many hours are you doing in the studio? Because you were grinding it
Well,
out, man, consistently in front of the computer.
I just always am. I'm a bit of an addict to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like when what you do for a career is your passion, right? A holiday, taking a break, is sitting down, chilling, watching a movie, listening to some music, which then sparks inspiration, which then gets me back on the computer trying to fucking like, oh, I'm gonna throw that fucking song that I'm listening to into Ableton and try to fuck with it, or I'm gonna like take that sample from that movie and try to do, you know what I mean? Like any artistic, like unless I just go walking on the beach or doing some fitness shit, like relaxing to me then ends up being work, you know, downtime. That's why I kind of think that downtime is so important for like people in the art, for creatives, because downtime is where you can really just let inspiration just fucking naturally just come up, you know? You're not forcing anything, you know?
And then you just get back in.
And so, and I'm kind of, there's this narrative in the world that it's like, oh, it's all like, oh, I've got to make 10 beats a day. You've got to be fast at speed. I've never thought of myself as like good or fast, right? So it's like, I feel like I'm always on it longer because I feel like I need to take longer to get the same results as someone else. So I've got to work harder. That's how I feel. I don't know, that just might be all me. But
that's why you got 100 songs, man. You've got so many fucking beats.
Oh man,
your catalog's
the new
wild,
shit
man.
is gonna be crazy, man. Because like, I took this time. This time has been a blessing because it's, you know, it's been a little like financially not sketchy, but just fuck.
Shaking a lot of things up, man.
Because of how long it's taking. It's like fuck. All right. Okay, do I got to really rethink things or whatever?
Because really, in your mind, you thought you'd be back in the States by now.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. I was meant to be going back on like May the 9th for some, like a festival thing that I was going to help put the show together for.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, it was the fucking Usher, Lil Jon, and Ludacris performance.
Oh, you actually going to do that one?
Yeah, because I'd put the show together for the R&B Fridays with Usher and John when they came out here. Right, like me and John did that.
Yeah, that was a wild show as well, man. That was dude.
That was
got
a
us all
movie.
front stage. That was insane, man.
Yeah.
Like I've seen Usher, man, every time he's come here, but man, them together performing the songs, it was just the best, man.
That's
the way
iconic,
you choreographed the show.
It wasn't
you know
me, like, but it was me
but, like,
and John,
the way it was all done,
yeah.
Because bro, you had like Usher would break it down with the ladies, but then John would bring it back up. You know what I mean? And
the guy was fucking genius.
It was on a roller coaster, man, the whole time.
Yeah, and that was crazy. That one was something special.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna dive into a shitload of Lil Jon stories,
but
man, tell people like how you got started, because you went from, you know, the jump off, man. You're a legend in Adelaide. Like everyone brings that up. You know, even when I was saying, man, I'm going to interview Kronic, you know, like Kronic, like, oh, from the jump off, like, man, everyone knows you from that. It's such an iconic show. So just in music in general, what kicked you off? Like, rewind, man. You've been to a lot of places as well, you know, from fucking.
My memory is a little bit blotchy because of all the drinking
some big nights.
Did in my career and my lifetime, you know, being that savage alco that I am. But no, it all started with DJing, right? And that was like, I got my first turntables when I was 16, and it was and just listening to like DJ Motto, Peter Guns, Tickles, I don't know if you remember the Club Joint All Stars mixtapes. You know who DJ Rectangle is?
No, I don't even know.
Alright, so like it was DJ Rectangle, DJ Motto, Tickles, Peter Guns. They were the Aussie guys. And then like Cuba and that, like I was really just into DJing, right? But then I'd also like, I started doing that, and would just started doing house parties and shit like this. So this was when I was 16, 17, doing house parties. I was trying to be a battle DJ too. And I got obsessed with it, but I never got that good at it. Like there was some serious fucking dope, battle
Dude,
DJs
you're pretty dope
here
at
in
scratching
yourself,
man.
There's like,
oh yeah, there definitely is.
You know what I mean? I wasn't battle level. I entered a battle when I was 17 just so I could go to the battle, because you could go to the venue if you were. I was 17, right?
Yeah.
But I couldn't go there unless I was 18, right?
Yeah.
Because of the license and shit. And but if I entered, they would let me in.
Oh,
so I
that's
entered
killer.
it, and I was like hella nervous and shit, and I didn't do very well, but at least I got in. I got to see the battles, right? And so that's what really got me like obsessed with the technical side of DJing, but also loved rocking house parties and shit, and you know, into fucking mixtapes are what got me into DJing, because I hadn't really seen DJs that much. It was more what I would hear.
Yeah.
And then when I realized a lot of that stuff was production, more so than just like they couldn't do some of the intro, like an intro, right? These fucking intros with, at the time, you know, 20, 30 songs, and they're on vinyl. I'm like, how the fuck is this? These motherfuckers, these cunts must have 10 arms.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
They're wild, yeah.
And I just got obsessed with that, and that's what, like, I got like Adobe Audition. That was the first program I started using, which didn't even have like tracks at that point. It was like record.
They didn't have YouTube as well, where you could just go.
Yeah, and it wasn't multi-layered tracks. It was like one. Even maybe it was. I didn't know how to use it, but I was recording my first mixtape. My first mixtape was called The Chronicles in 2002. Right, I was fucking 17 years old. Shit. And I would record bits of it, and then I'd record over the audio because you could overlay record.
Yeah.
Right. So it was just this long, slow, dodgy process, but it still came out alright.
Kind of like back in the day, man, when they had to snip the vinyl and then go tape it over again and snip it again. Tape when they were doing the tape.
Yeah, like it was the
that's how they
digital
did it back
version
in the day,
of that.
man.
Except there was probably Adobe Audition does have multi channels. I don't know whether I was just dumb back then or I didn't have the version that did it. You know, I think there was a version that was just one channel.
But then, man, you went all the way to obviously getting your CDs. Like, it obviously went to CDs, and that made things a
well, the first one was I was always printing shit on CDs. I remember when before I made my first mixtape, I would like I'd download a bunch of shit from Napster. Yeah. Right. Make compilations and give them to like my friends, you know, like at school. I remember doing that, and then like hit his like with my mate, and their older brothers would like give us DJ mixtape stuff like that. That's kind of what got me onto it and shit. And like then I would DJ their house parties and stuff. Yeah. And
when did you go to Ableton? When did that switch over?
Ableton was a while. I was using Adobe Audition for the longest time to make mixtapes. Ableton was like probably 2000 and fuck.
So all the jump off CDs and all of that was Adobe.
Yeah, with my PC on an Adobe, bro. On
Shout out
Adobe
Adobe.
Audition. Yeah.
Dude, they were sick mixtapes.
There was no like warping. There was no. It was like you record. It was live, but not live. You know, so like.
Yeah. So when did you start DJing live in the club?
I was doing my first gigs at like 17, and I was playing like the underages. Yeah. They would put me on at some of like the underage gigs at the Old Heaven. Yeah. Yeah, the Old Heaven. I think they were called like Notorious.
Yeah, dude, Notorious. I remember those. I went to those as a kid.
Yeah.
Cousin Siren was LD. MC LD, man. Shout out Siren.
He's still LD.
Yeah, he is still. Yeah,
I love that dude. And his brother Wani was MCing.
Was he?
Yeah. I don't know if he was MCing at the underages, but I did meet him at Red Square because I remember going to Red Square before I was underage when I was going to Red Square. My cousin was friends with the promoter or some shit there, and they'd always go to Red Square and like
sneak you in.
Yeah, they got me in a couple of times, but they got me my first gig at Red Square. So they had put me onto the promoter. That like my cousin would give the mixtapes to the promoter, and then got me. I think that's what got me my first gig at Red Square. But then they'd always get in fights there, right? And then when I was DJing, they'd get in these fights, and the promoter would blame me. I'm like, I got in through them. It's not my fault. Yeah. You can ban them if you need to. Like,
I still want to play, man.
Yeah.
I still want to DJ.
Like, that shit was crazy.
Dude, yeah, I still remember your brother and his mates rocking up the HQ with like trackies. And I remember we snuck him in the back, and he came out and he fucking had him on his shoulders.
Yeah, he had Jaco.
Jaco, yeah. Your brother had you on his shoulders, man. We're like, what the fuck?
Yeah, he nearly died. He was like so out of breath from that.
Yeah, that was wild.
It was sick.
Yeah. Everyone's like, what the fuck's going on?
Yeah.
He's like, he's wearing trackies, get him off stage.
Fuck.
Fun
Yeah,
times,
but
man.
it wasn't till probably like, it wasn't till I got my Mac that I switched to Mac that I got onto Ableton. Before that, it was Adobe Audition. Before that, it was a lot of vinyl stuff. Like, I wasn't late on Serato, but I was there when Serato was first happening, you know. So I was vinyl, and then I remember I'd take vinyl as a backup for Serato, you know. Like, that sounds weird now, but like, that's what you would do, you know, because you didn't trust this fucking like computer DJing shit.
Yeah,
like,
so
when it
you
was
actually,
new.
you had to do the time. It was all about timing for you. Because if you fucked up the timing on a real vinyl, man, that would screw up everything, right?
Yeah, it was a
because you're
different.
essentially scratching one song into the next one. It's a lot harder than.
Well, it's a different skill, right?
You know, on the Serato, right?
Yeah, like, I feel like I might have lost some skill when you go to something that's kind of perfect, you know, like when you've got a grid and when you've got a visual aid to watch, like I might have lost a bit of that ability to like just listen in and like constantly adjust, because no vinyl is ever flat. You've got this little wave, so the tempo's always just doing this, you know?
Yeah.
It's never like 100 BPM. You know, like on the CDJs now, it's like 100.0567 and it's locked there, right?
Yeah.
Whereas in vinyl, it's like, you know, so you're just, it's a constant adjustment. I was always like, of the mindset that one of the biggest skills of DJing is knowing how to fix your mistakes. That's one thing that doesn't get talked about that much, is like a real good DJ that fixes their mistakes really quickly, because you'll always make mistakes. A great DJ is not going to make no mistakes. They just fix them super quick.
Yeah.
Because it's always a mistake, you know, especially when you were mixing with vinyl. It's like, you got these two things trying to go at the same time. It's like, you know what I mean? Like, it's a constant balancing act. So.
Man, you're so true. This is why I'm so excited to have you on the fucking show, man. You're just spitting that game.
Sick. Cheers. Full of the game, bro.
Dude, so... Yeah, but you just got so much knowledge, and I can't wait to even dive into like more of your production side of things as well.
I wasn't doing any production back then. Like,
Yeah, so what made you want to, like, what I want to ask is, what made you go on the radio? Or were these opportunities that just came to you and you just rolled with it? Like, yeah, all right, I thought the show was good, I would do this, and then keep pumping the mixtapes. Like, did you...
I was doing the mixtape thing, right? And like, the jump off was like 2006. I know some of the dates because I've been doing this like past authoring thing where you kind of like do like an autobiography of your life.
Yeah.
Like, I just for personal reasons, going through what I've done, right, career and life wise, right. Especially because, you know, I won't talk too much about it, but like with my drinking and shit, there's so many like, what the fuck happened points in my life. You know what I mean? Yeah. And like, where was that then, or was it, you know what I mean? So like, it was just good, and I've got like new things that I'm working on, and I don't want to make the same mistakes again. So it was like real good to just dive in and look back at the past. But like the jump off was 2006, and that was like, I'd already done like 6 or 7 mixtapes by then, you know? So I was getting known as like the mixtape DJ. And that's all it was at that point, you know? This was before being a DJ, you had to have a track. You could just be a DJ and be dope at it and get big.
And
like,
literally
that's all I wanted to do.
People see you might just give them a mixtape. Yo, here's a mixtape.
I
remember that, man. Yeah,
CDs,
I remember.
We'd print up like thousands of them,
it out. Yeah.
and we'd go to Marion.
Yeah.
And I dude,
you taught us the hustle.
My first mixtapes, I would draw on them. Like, I didn't know about getting printed. I'd print the CDs myself, and then I'd write the name of the mixtape, and I'd put my number on it.
What?
I'd put my number, and I'd give it out to girls at Marion, Tea Tree Plaza. You do the runs, all the malls, all the Western, and like, if you like it, text me type of shit, you know, like just trying to.
See, Kronic said the same shit. Kronic said the same
shit. Did he?
See where we got the hustle from?
Yeah, dude.
He's like, man, let's kick it back to the mixtape days. He's like, you remember? I'm like, yeah, I remember. We used to go TDP, bro.
Yeah.
Like, you know?
That's how, like, stores. We were kind of promoters too, you know? Like, I was running some underages and shit. Like, shout out Dave Ailing. You're like, we were...
Yeah, good old Dave. He was working with the game and stuff at that time.
Dave was doing some crazy things, man. He was working with a lot of people. And, you know, he was a big part of putting the underages and shit together. So Like, yeah.
Well, he did the
it was
DJ
dope.
comp.
Yeah.
You guys did the DJ comp, and then Krunk won the DJ comp.
Yeah.
And that's
I
how
remember
that
when
formed,
Crank first
man.
walked into my
Humble
affiliated.
abode.
No, I was at Affiliated Records. I was working with this record company, Affiliated Records, and they were letting me just do DJ lessons out of like one of their offices. And that's where I met Crunk and taught him some things. I think he showed me the video. He told me I forget, but he told me I had told him I was putting together my set for the either Game or Snoop Dogg concert. So it must have been around like 2008.
Yeah.
Because that's when that was. And so I was like doing some juggles and shit with that. Back when juggling was like,
dude, you can do behind the back as well.
Well, I could. I haven't tried that shit in forever,
like
man.
that.
Like, I haven't tried that in a long time, you know? And juggling was like kind of almost became redundant. Like, it's still a dope skill, but with cue buttons, it's like, people are like, what?
Yeah.
Why is it?
Yeah, why
Yeah,
switch
just
it
do
up?
that.
Yeah,
You know, like, it sucks.
Yeah, but that
at
was
the same
art
time,
back
like,
then, man.
yeah,
It
I
still is
still
art,
respect,
you know?
I still like juggling. Like, it's fun and all that shit, but it definitely, like, queuing, the cue button is like, well, here's a quicker way to do it if you need to do that, because juggling was like a necessity that then became a skill and an art, right? It was like, to bring that back, that's what you had to do.
Yeah, like drop
but
it
then
like
where
this,
it's like, oh, we could just go like this, or we can loop it. Now there's no reason unless, like, there was no necessity to be like, oh, how can I have to do this, then how can I do it in a clever way and a cool way and make it like my own, you know?
But I guess the way juggling, like you said, learning how to juggle also, that helped a lot of DJs switch their mistakes quicker.
Oh,
Do you know what I mean? Because if you fucked up, bro, you could bring that back and play it off like you were juggling the beat.
It was all about gaining seconds, right? So like, you would try to spin that record back as fast as you could, so you had more seconds to do something cool with it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so the faster you could get it back to where you needed to, the more time you had to like do some wild little cool scratch or even just look at the crowd and like
those dices. They had those dices.
Oh yeah, that
you
shit
boys
was
had.
fire.
That was sick because you could use the bombs and the other ad libs and stuff.
Yeah, I haven't used turntables for a long time.
So you go straight to CDJs now?
I went to CDJs when I was like doing the dance stuff, and then it kind of never left that. I got a controller to get back onto Serato, but I never really dived right back into it because I haven't really been DJing that much.
So you were hip hop in Adelaide pretty much, and then you moved to Melbourne and you were still doing hip hop.
Yeah.
Right, and then is it when you went to you moved to the Gold Coast? Because I know you went Gold Coast then Sydney.
Yeah.
Right?
There's
I know
a lot going on there.
That's what I mean. You've been to so many places, but it was around the Gold Coast. That's when you really went into the more party rock star lifestyle.
So,
bro.
like,
EDM, because that's when Krunk and you did like the little, was it Vomit or Snow? 3%.
Oh, that was way later.
Yeah, okay, way later.
But we'll get to that then.
Yes. No, because you were even your Bombs Away days, and you're going to tell them about your fucking, with Sketch.
What?
Your little, Balls Deep.
Oh, Balls Deep, the porn star duo.
Balls Deep, the porn star duo. Yeah, baby.
I was Charlie Griffith, and he was, fuck, I forget his name.
You actually came down to HQ as a show.
I was just in my boxes. We bought wigs. Yeah. You want to go on to that, or you want to go back?
Yeah, no, we'll rewind it. Yeah. So yeah, like, what's the difference between Adelaide to Melbourne?
I was doing the mixtapes, and it was like all just hip hop mixtapes. Like, that's what I grew up loving, you know, just hip hop. You know, I was kind of one of them arrogant fucks, you know, like one of them nobody listens to techno cunts, you know?
Yeah.
Like one of them dudes, you know, like that disc doof doof dude, you know? Fuck that doof doof shit, you know? That was kind of my attitude. But yeah, so it was all just hip hop mixtapes. And then I moved to Melbourne. I was going to take a full-time job here because I wasn't really getting, I was popping from the mixtapes, you know, like cunts were loving that shit. I won an award as well, you know? Like, I was doing the radio show, which was the Jump Off.
Yeah, it was popping, man.
I can't even remember how I got onto Fresh. Like, I don't know who I met to get in there, but like, I kind of just started doing guest mixes on someone's show. I think it was Relaxes even. Maybe something, see? like I was doing guest like little 15-minute things, or no, not like 5-minute things. You know, like you'd say, do a mix of 3 or 4 songs. You know, I'll make these little things because then they wanted to throw a little bit of R&B or whatever in it. And then that opened the door to working with this other guy who I forget the name of, who we were doing the show with. And then as he kind of was like, I think he was like trying to do his own thing later where he could play whatever the fuck he wanted, you know?
Yeah.
And then it kind of got passed on to me, and it went from, it was called Cut City, and then when it became mine, I turned it into the Jump Off Show. And yeah.
Bro, and the Jump Off Show got you the tours, didn't it, as well? Like, that got you touring Rock the Block tours and...
Yeah.
Is that when you went to
Melbourne? It was the radio, but it was the
tours?
mixtapes. Yeah, because I was giving out...
all of it, essentially.
Yeah, like, because I was like on the mixtape hustle, inspired by guys like Motto and that. And I remember I had given Samurai a CD, a mixtape, when he played at Red Square. And he must have passed it around to a couple of people, and I got a phone call because I was giving them out with my number on.
Yeah. And
I got a phone call from Motto, and I couldn't believe. I was like, what the fuck? Like, this isn't DJ Motto. This is like... Because to me, he was like God, you know, he's the best mixtape DJ I've ever.
Yeah.
Like, and then, like, he gave me props, and then I ended up, like, doing some gigs with him later on. Like, it wasn't until a few mixtapes later that I did, but, you know.
How was that, man?
Oh, that was nuts,
that wild?
man. Yeah. Like, I didn't even know if I was that good then. Like, I don't think that I really... I don't know. Maybe I didn't. I don't know. I would just...
Well, it's one of the things. He wouldn't hit you up if you were shit, bro.
Yeah. Oh, no. I knew my mixtapes were dope. I knew my mixtapes were dope.
Yeah.
But it took me a little while to start touring, you know? Like, the gigs... I always felt like I didn't get that many gigs. Like, in Adelaide, I just was struggling, you know? Like, there was this... It's like that still, I guess. But, you know, like, promoter cliques that are like, you know, like, nah, you're with us. Or you play somewhere else, you're like, fuck off. You know, if you're not team, we're not down with you. That's kind of, it was heavy like that, and they didn't really like me, I guess. And I was a bit of a, you know, shit talker, you know, like, no, fuck
bit of a wild
one,
gun.
But yeah, so I was going to take a full-time job working at like an extra, like building the fucking stages.
Okay,
you know, like sounds like at the entertainment center.
Yeah, like stage ready.
Yeah, I was gonna do that. And like I took the job, and then I was like, fuck, should I move to Melbourne? I took the job. I was like 2 weeks into it, and then the guy I was going to live with KZ, who was like the Melbourne's pop and R&B hip hop DJ. Then
you guys came down and did a couple shows
and
together.
I was like, should I move? Nah, it's safer if I take this job and shit. I was like, nah, fuck that. Like, I'll give it a shot. I'll move there for 6 months. Move there, like it was. And then I suddenly went from like maybe 1 gig every couple of weeks here with guest spot to like Melbourne, you know, like, and KZ was already killing it. He's like, if you come over, you won't get paid heaps, but we'll put you on. Like, you could do 3 gigs a night on the Friday, Saturday, maybe 1 on a Thursday, occasionally
which a lot
Sunday.
of people do in Melbourne, don't they?
Yeah, like Melbourne was big on that whole, like, you play your first set at 6 p.m. You play a 9 p.m. set, then you play an 11 p.m. set, then a 2 a.m. joint, then a 4 a.m. Motherfuckers would do 6, 7 sets in a night.
Yeah.
You know, and Sydney was the same too, but Melbourne having that whole like open
and the scene was a
24 hours type shit.
Yeah.
It was like, yeah, you come do that. So I moved there, started doing that, and I was still doing hip hop, and that's it, right? That's all I was doing.
And then you were just hustling mixtapes because you obviously gave up the Jump Off, or were you still doing it?
Yeah,
still
I was still recording it, and I forget who was it. Maybe Sanchez took over it, but there was people helping me with it, and it ended up. I think Sanchez then took the show.
Sanchez OG.
Yeah,
another OG
dude. I remember like just jamming and battling at my house. Like with him bring his 4 turntables.
Yeah, dude, he's so good, man.
Oh, man.
Like you too.
Like he was always better than me technically. Like
he's wild, man.
Like that motherfucker's a skilled DJ.
Yeah.
I think to this day
Yeah.
still is, you know, like
yeah, dude,
one of them
100%.
guys that's
He's
like,
never slipping off his game.
yeah,
Like, in that
I
Eminem's
didn't practice
always on his
today.
words, man.
You know what I mean? I didn't
Yeah.
fucking scratch today.
Dude,
you
that
know?
guy I've never seen him play a shit set.
Yeah, like,
You know? I've seen you get fucking loose, but I've never seen a shit set from you, bro. Like,
yeah.
seen the sloppy moments in your
There's been
set.
so many sloppy sets.
But yeah,
Oh,
good
well.
times, man. That's the rock star vibes that you bring,
Yeah.
brother.
But then, so I moved to Melbourne, and like it was getting a bit more open format, right? But it was still very hip hop, right? Like it was still hip hop.
Yeah.
I remember because I was making my mixtapes, right? And I was working at the Melbourne house. I have the setup in the like kitchen, right? So I was making the jump off two and three because they put them out in the same year.
Yeah.
And I was working on that, but I was working on the Ministry of Kronic at the same time, which was my introduction into dance music. Because I remember I went to a festival here in Adelaide that the Beatnuts were playing at, right? And they were on the hip hop stage, and there was I don't know who was on the dance stage, right? And I was like still one of them arrogant hip hop heads. Watching the Beatnuts, it was dope. And then some girls we were there with were like, let's go to the dance. And fuck that, I'm getting hammered. All right, cool, I'll come over. I fucking remember going over to the dance stage, and like the sun was just coming down, and there was the DJ was playing Daft Punk, around the world, and there was this dude.
Classic, man.
Like the sun was coming down, everyone hands in the air. There was a guy sitting on some other dude's shoulders, right, just like with his hands out, spinning around. It was like it burned into my memory. I was like, oh, I get it. I like dance music now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it
That's
really.
the moment when you fell in love with it.
Like I take that kind of ideology with me into other genres, right? Like if there's something I don't like, I'm like, and maybe I need to or want to understand it. It's like, well, I'm going to try to dive into it. Like, why do people like this? It was like with dubstep and trap and shit. It was like, and even different styles of dance music that I ended up getting into. It was like, all right, maybe I need to go to a concert or a club or a festival. Like really just got to, why do these motherfuckers like this shit?
Yeah.
You know?
Because it's different, man. They all take you on different journeys.
Yeah.
In the different environments as well.
Yeah. Like
music's been created for certain environments.
Yeah.
You know, like
even
the techno song to like a dubstep crazy. Like some people would look at it like, why are these motherfuckers just going like that? But man, until I started working
music
with
is
Chris,
all in the moment.
Yeah, exactly, man. But you don't know why. But man, until you understand it,
magic.
it's fucking, it is wild, man.
It doesn't exist, dude.
Yeah.
Like, music's not a physical thing. It's airwaves.
Yeah, and then it's
This
just,
is me on my fucking deep, weird
It's just
shit.
voice of opinion as well. On
Yeah,
where
man.
It sits in a pedestal.
Even the greatest piece of music ever is whack unless you like experience it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's or it's nothing. You know what I mean? Like, so.
This motherfucker's getting deep. I love it.
I get deep when it comes to music. Like, yeah. But I experienced it, you know, and I was like, all right, I'll start fucking with dance music, you know, and like Daft Punk is like they're just and like Fatboy,
your first
like Daft Punk,
Fatboy Slim,
Fatboy Slim, fucking, I don't even know who else.
Well, man, the crazy thing with you is that Kronic has had so many sides to him. You know what I mean? Like your artistry, man. Like come from hip hop, and then you went to that party bounce stage, man. You know, obviously with Bombs Away.
Well, before that, I went. It was open format, you know, because so getting into the dance music kind of happened around the same time that open format was opening up a bit more.
So
like
mashup started working with
and it was like
Usher.
You know, DJ AM.
Yes.
Yeah, so like DJ AM was like kind of the king of fucking open format DJing, right? And so like I had got into dance music and I wanted to, you know, dip my toes into it. So I took the approach of like the hip hop DJ mixtape, which was like, you know, take something from that world and like put your spin on it, right? Like, so I remember DJ Rectangle's mixtapes were like the Fader of Fury or like, Return of the DJ instead of Return of the Jedi, and then you
Yeah.
get the Star Wars thing and you put his head on Yoda or some shit, and instead of lightsabers he's got turntables.
Yeah,
So that's what I
sick.
did with the Ministry of Kronic, right? Like I took the Ministry of Sound session CDs, their art, and I just fucking put my stamp on that bit,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, I
and I was like
remember
the
that.
Ministry of Kronic, you know?
Yeah.
And like
Dude,
I ended up
remember
getting
that.
sued for it, which I'll tell you about in a minute, but like
You used to have the killer cuts as well, like, line me up some rails, bitches,
Oh,
because we're
dude.
celebrating.
It
DJ Kronic.
It was-
Dude.
I made that mixtape
Dude, that's
in my
so
headphones
good.
because I was too afraid to let my housemates know that I was making a dance mixtape. That's how like into hip hop
Yeah,
we
yeah.
were. But then when I showed Kaz, he was like, dude, this is dope. What the fuck? Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
it
Dude,
was a bit-
you did it like really smooth, man. And it
Yeah.
almost effortlessly, you know what I mean? The way you mixed it in, because it was sick. And
I-
it had those little segments like the hip hop
it
album.
was a hip hop mix,
Yeah.
man, but just
Yeah.
using only dance music.
Yeah.
I remember a lot of dance DJs in Adelaide, but from whoever, wherever, came up to me and were like, like the track selection was a bit like novice. Like these were guys that were like, yeah, you just were scratching the surface. You could tell by the track list, like you didn't go deep.
Yeah.
You know, but the way you put that shit together was fire. We haven't heard a mix like that before, you know. And
Yeah,
like,
sick.
it was just me doing my Kronic like mixtape shit. That's one of the only things that I have ultimate confidence in is my mixtape game. You know, like I
It's
know,
on point, man.
like I'm on
Your
point
edits
with
are
that shit.
sick, bro.
Right? Cheers.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you know that was also around the same time that I was getting my first interstate gigs at the Gold Coast, right?
Yeah.
So like I was living in Melbourne doing these hip hop gigs.
So did you meet Matt in Melbourne?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, in
No,
Gold,
so
Coast.
Gold
That's
Coast.
why Matt's Matt GC. Matt the GC.
Yes,
for
that's
Gold
right.
Coast.
Yeah, through because he was doing the radio show there
He
too,
was doing
right?
a radio show,
Yeah.
right? Oh, okay. He was doing a radio show called Down with the In Crowd. Him and Daniel, his friend, who's now a dope artist, they were doing a hip hop show on Radio Metro, right?
Yeah.
Matt's now my manager, right? And he started as like a promoter for like this guy named Scott Ferris in Brisbane and the Gold Coast, but Matt would pick up the DJs when they come to the Gold Coast because
Yeah.
he lived in the Gold Coast. That's how I met him. I got my gigs there, come up and do like the R&B night at the Bedroom nightclub, right?
Yep.
In the Gold Coast on a Tuesday fucking night, right? This is like 3 stories in one kind of on the journey.
It's all gonna come together.
Yeah, but he picked me up on a Tuesday. I go like he was the driver, and we just became friends. And like he ended up becoming my manager. The dude knows so much about the industry before he even got into managing. His show was like a hip hop show, but instead of being like an hour and they'd play like 10, 20, 30 songs, they might only play 5 songs, but they talk about the record and like they play like a fucking Jay-Z record and talk about like how No ID produced it and
Yeah,
and
sick.
the deals that Jay-Z had with the label.
Yeah,
You know what I
speaking
mean?
of
Like
knowledge of it,
he
yeah.
had so much knowledge on the industry just as a fan of the business side of music.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and I would always listen and be like, man, this is fucking dope. Like that's the passion that he had for the industry and business of music, but also the art of the music too. Cause like they're hand in hand, man. People say that like industry is the poison to creativity, but like it's not at all. You just got to know when to wear the
people
hat.
that are in the industry, they still love the music.
Well,
and they
exactly,
love
and the
things.
people
That's
that
why
make
they're
the
in that industry.
creative art need the industry.
Yeah.
Like the minute you
Yeah,
put
that's right.
something out to the world, you become the industry, even if you do it by yourself. Like, so you got to know when to wear what hat, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like I'm creative or I'm talking fucking business, you know? You can easily merge the two together. There's been too many fucking examples of great pieces of art that have been both about business. Tarantino is the best example of like entertainment and like fucking sellable product and fucking incredible art all wrapped into one thing, you know?
Yeah.
That no one point in time does his fucking art suffer as a consequence of like trying to make it more sellable to the public, you know? Like that's the perfect marriage between like entertainment and art. And that's what I like. That's the type of shit I like. That's why You know?
Yeah, he never sacrificed anything for his vision.
Yeah.
And
The vision was
his
always
vision
in
was
line
so
with what
fucking
would
great,
sell.
man. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
when you're
You
into
gotta let him do
entertainment
his
as
thing.
art,
Yeah.
when you're into entertainment as art, then I'll almost feel lucky that I am, right? Because when you're into entertainment as art, then you've got that benefit that you can be creative within the boundary of like, all right, well, will it sell or won't it? You know, like there
And the
is
thing
that.
is, you never really know.
Well, you don't. Yeah, that's the
You
other
know?
thing. You have no idea. It's total up to the people.
Like. But
There's
but
so
I
many-
guess you get But you know that time and that
You just
vibe.
gotta put that time and effort into it.
Yeah.
And if you think it's dope, there's a very good possibility that other people might think it's dope. So yeah.
So then switching from the Gold Coast, then
So
with Matt.
Matt was picking me up, right? And so that's how I started being friends with him and started working with him. And I was flying into the Gold Coast, right? And out of all the gigs around the country, I was like, man, this motherfucker is a Tuesday night and I'm playing this club is packed. It's rocking. It's tour essential. It's fucking, I'm like, and it's sunny too. You know, we're at the fucking pool in the middle of July, you know, like this is the best thing ever. And the club owners there, they all fucking would go to Vegas every couple of months, right? And they'd be like, come back from Vegas and be like, we need to make our club more like this. We need to throw money towards the fucking market. We need to put the DJs on billboards. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The Gold Coast at that time was 7 days a week, packed, you know? Because
that's when the
club
tour was pumping.
Yeah. So they had all this fucking money from making so much money that like they could spend a bit more on us, right? And so like then I'd go there, play the R&B nights, and I'd stay like I'd be like, fuck this. I don't have to DJ until Friday in Melbourne. If you book me for three nights, I'll play the Tuesday and then I'll just come party with you guys and just enjoy the Gold Coast during the week. I went up there with my mate Malcolm, who I was living with his brother.
I love Mount. Shout out Mount.
Yeah, shout out
the one
Mount.
and only MC.
Yeah.
Man, fucking
I love
amazing,
Mount.
man.
Fucking legend. And he was living in Melbourne too, right? And so he'd often come up with me to the Gold Coast. And I remember we were sitting at one of the Gold Coast hotels, just at the pool with him, and just looked over like, man, let's just fucking move here. Like,
because he became a promoter at the club, right?
Yeah. So we moved up, right? My plan was to go back to doing the DJ lessons. I was doing a few little DJ lessons, like I was saying about, like I taught Kronic, I taught a few other people here in Adelaide. That's how I was trying to make more money DJing, because I couldn't get gigs and there weren't that many.
Yeah.
Right. Moved to Melbourne, didn't have to do that, took the gigs. Wanted to move to the Gold Coast because the like interstate gigs were starting to happen. And I'm like, I know I'll get there with that, but in the meantime, I need to make fucking money.
Yeah, you'll make
so,
more on
all
the
right,
Gold
I'll
Coast.
move to the Gold Coast. I'll just teach people how to DJ. I want to live here. This place is dope. Within a week from moving there, the owner of the club hits me, says, come in, go into the office. And he's like, yeah, so I hear you moved here. I'm like, yeah. He's like, come play for us 3 nights a week. You can leave whenever you want to do your interstate gigs. Like, they gave me some good money to do it. And I'm like, fuck yeah, I'm here on the Gold Coast. And he's like, but you do open format, right? I'm like, fuck yes, I do. And that's when I went from like doing it as a passion, like just on the side, to like, all right, I can now put this
like
into the
3
music.
hour sets, man. Gold Coast.
Yeah, it was like,
even with Kronic, it wasn't like an hour set you get on and that was it.
Yeah,
Sometimes 45.
I was sometimes playing 4 hour
Yeah,
sets at the beginning, you know, like 3-4 hour sets, usually 2.5, but like on the nights where they needed it, you know, you play longer. And that was the time when I had just got into open format. And it was the first time I was really playing it. So it was like, I had all this extra music from all these other genres that I liked, but I was like no, I'm hip hop only.
Yeah.
I throw that in, there's hours extra, you know what I mean? Like, and that's what got me into that. At the same time, I put out the fucking Jump Off 3 and Ministry of Kronic. That was at that time in 2008, right? I met the guy from Culture Kings, right? You know what Culture Kings is? That clothing
the
brand here?
Show, the
the store.
Brand, yeah.
That
Melbourne
that started as like in the markets in like Gold Coast Carrara markets, right? And they were selling like fake gear, right?
Yeah.
That started there. I met him there because that was like the popping to buy like fake FUBU or some shit like that, right? Like that's where you would go. I met the dude, right? And he's like, man, love your mixtapes. Can I print up 1,000 of them? I'll give them out with everything. If you let me print them, I'll print 10 if you want. I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't like, that'd be sick for me, right? So he takes fucking jump. He was already doing a bit of that with me, right? But then when I got there, I'm like, all right, here's the next 2 mixtapes. And he printed off like 5,000 of the Ministry of Kronic and 5,000 of the
And that
Jump
was
Off.
the dude where they printed on the CDs,
Yeah.
like the plastic.
And so
that was the shit.
I was all over the Gold Coast that year, right? Like we gave out thousands and thousands of mixtapes. Someone from Ministry of Sound must have got one. And that's when like I got in like a bit of trouble. Like I had the cease and desist letter from all the labels saying like, you're using our songs, using our imagery, fucking rah, rah, rah. Got the phone call like from the lawyer who had the same last name as me, which is weird.
Right.
But
They let you off because of that?
no, they didn't let me off. I didn't get sued. Like I got a cease and desist, right? And so I had to take it down. That's why it wasn't on the mixtapes. Then it was the underground game.
Yeah.
I didn't even know I was really doing anything wrong then. You know, like I'd grown up.
Well, that's what hip hop was growing up, riffing.
Especially hip hop
mixtapes,
mixtapes, dude.
Shit, yeah.
Like I was saying before, he'd be like, I'm gonna do a Star Wars theme mixtape and take samples of like all the sounds from Star Wars and maybe the intro, the Darth Vader intro theme music. And then like, I'm gonna flip the name Return of the Jedi, Return of the DJ. That's like what Rectangle did. Like that's what people would do, you know, like you theme your mixtape as it's the Christmas thing if you wanted to or whatever. Right. And so I was like, what do you do if you're a hip hop DJ trying to come into the dance world? It's like Ministry of Sound.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah. Like Sessions was popping, man. And so I'm
But
like,
isn't it crazy
Ministry of Kronic.
You got signed to Ministry of Sound later on.
Yeah, they probably won't want me to say this, right? But I remember that the owner was like, we will never work with that mother. I don't know if it's a motherfucker, but we'll never work with that dude. Like he's dead. Like he's on the blacklist.
Yeah.
Then a few years later, it was
They
only
must have scrubbed your ass off that list.
Then a few years later, like it's not like they didn't want to sign me, but after doing that and like the Gold Coast was almost like the next step for me, and it was, you know, open format. I really started getting into dance music, and that's where I met Bombs Away. Started working with them, and that's when I really started doing production. You know, I dabbled with hip hop beats, but I never really could get a good program that I liked. I tried Reason, couldn't figure it out. You know, I wasn't like, I started a little bit, stopped. Just my mixtape game's dope. Like let's just stick to this, right? And it wasn't until I started getting into dance music that I started learning production. You know, I was learning from some of the guys up there, and when I was fucking around with the Bombs Away guys, like I was learning little bits from them, right? And so that's where I started my production, you know, in the dance music.
Because that's when
how I learned to produce.
moved in with Matt, right? At that point, you boys all got in the house.
It wasn't
Mouse.
then yet.
Oh, okay. That
Oh,
was a
Matt
bit later on.
GC.
You moved in with
Sketch's
no.
name's Matt too.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
There's too many Matts in the industry.
Yeah. No, because you moved in with, it was you, Malx.
Yeah, when I moved to the Gold Coast, it was me and Malcolm moved up there. It was me, Malcolm, Matt, Tom Stark.
Yeah, that's right, Starkey. Shout out Tommy!
Yeah, shout dude. Tom,
he's back in Brizzy.
Is dope and had fucking
And I was gonna get into that. Yeah, jump
straight
into it,
man. He had the dopest place there, man. Fucking.
So you met Tom in the Gold Coast?
Tom
no,
here.
you met Tom here.
Yeah, Tom was playing.
Yeah, he's an Adelaide boy.
Yeah, he was playing at the club Dynasty. Like he was Tom the Apprentice. That was his DJ name. What Apprentice? We called him Tom the Apprentice.
Tom the Apprentice.
That's what he was on flyers, right? And
my young apprentice.
I think he moved to Brisbane too before we did, right?
Yeah,
he moved to Brisbane. He was doing some gigs already in Brisbane. When I got up to the Gold Coast, I moved in with Matt for like 2 weeks. Then we found a house. We moved, because he was living like about 30, 40 minutes out of the strip, right? So we found a place like close to the Gold Coast. Me, Malcolm, Matt, Tom was in and out.
Yeah, he kept coming and going. Yeah.
At that point, there was this other guy named Alvin who lived with us. Then we got
that's right.
the house in Ashmore. It was the Ashmore house. We called it the Aquaman because we thought
That's right. Yeah, that's
we
it.
thought we were like the cunts from Entourage.
But you were right on the river
Oh,
as
dude,
well.
we were on the river. I
Yeah.
bought a jet ski.
Yeah,
It
that was
like,
wild, man.
That shit was wild, dude.
Dude, I remember coming for a weekend. You got me fucked up of Cafe Patron.
They called me Captain Patron.
Yeah,
My
Captain
nickname on the Gold Coast was Captain
Yeah,
Patron.
because that's when Krunk started. You got Krunk gigs there.
Yeah, and we had him bring out the chicken salt and everything.
Yes. Man,
so,
it was
because what had happened, right, is like we got real tight with the owners there, and we just got the Gold Coast is was a weird infrastructure, right? Like everybody that worked at the clubs, especially if you were staff there, if you were like a waitress or a bartender or a promoter, like you'd work. It's 7 days open, right? So you'd work maybe 5 or 6 days. On your night off, you're back at the club because that's your night off. Where do you go? Well, I'm going to go to the place where I get cheap drinks, right?
Yeah.
So it's this rotation of people working. Night off, they go get fucked up there and either like do something stupid to the point where they get fired and then someone else who wanted the long line of people wanting to work in these clubs, or it was very forgiving of how you acted, you know, like you were meant to get fucked up, right?
Yeah.
So like
we've all been there before.
Oh, bro, right? I've had so many nights I do not remember on the Gold Coast, you know, like shit.
Smashing down a Euros just to soak some of that alcohol.
It never worked for me. I passed out I've passed out everywhere. I passed out in toilets. I passed out on stage. I passed out right at the front of the fucking venue. Like I passed out on a bus.
Yep, and you're...
No, not on a bus, like leaning on a bus that was pulled over to pick people up, standing up, and I passed out and the bus took off and I fell.
No
like,
way. Where the fuck were you to do that?
That was in Brisbane. Because it was, I think that what had happened, it was like...
Paracron?
Yeah, in Brisbane, there was like, in the valley, the buses would pull up. I think this is right. The buses would pull up and they'd wait there for a while get people on. This was like, I guess the first stop out of the valley, something like that. So it was there for a while and it had given me at least a couple of minutes to like lean up against it, fall asleep.
Just enough to doze off.
Yeah. So many near-death experiences with drinking, which, you know, I look back at it and like these are fond memories, but also like examples that I need to learn from.
Yeah, it's true. But can you say one of your worst? Like, what was one of those worst? What's one of those bad ones in the Gold Coast where you're like, fuck, I'm gonna be fired? Like, did you ever?
I don't know if I had. Okay.
Because you get woken up and be like, man.
I had some very scary ones in the Gold Coast. There were never really ones that were like that. I thought my career, this was gonna be a career ender. Maybe like. There was a lot of times that I cheated on my missus at the time when I was pissed, scared of getting caught. There was a lot of times when I'd wake up, I woke up in a car park. I didn't even know where the fuck I was. I woken up on the side of you know, the middle of a road, like what's medium strip on the grass in the middle, like out in some suburb. I'm like, where the fuck am I? Like, they're scary moments, man. When you wake up. I woke up at the front of someone's house in a bin. The bin was on its side. The Gold Coast is hot, right? Like, I wake up, the sun's blaring on my bald fucking head. I'm like, fuck. Where the fuck am I? I'm in a bin. I don't know why I'm in a bin. I never found that out. I get out of the bin. I'm looking, there's the house. I walk into the house. Like, I don't know why I just walked back in, right? But I'm like, where the fuck? I need to find out where I am. I think I didn't have my shoes or some shit like that. So like I was in this house. So I walk back in the house and like I walk in and there's all these cunts that are fucked off their head out the back, just sitting there. And then like I walk in, they just look at me like this. I'm like, oi, sorry guys, like I don't know who you are, but like, was I here last night? And they're like, yeah, they just start laughing. I'm like, wait, what's so funny? Like, can you tell me what's going on? Kronic, what are you on about, man? I'm like, what? Like, sorry, man. Sorry, I don't know if we've met, but I really don't remember you. This is how, like, I have blackout drunk.
Yeah.
The guy's like, what are you talking about, cunt? 4 hours ago, we were getting pissed as fuck. Right? So I've been drinking with these guys for like 4 hours at their house. Must have passed out. I don't know how it got in the bin, but I wake up, I don't remember a thing. I don't remember a thing. Like, that's how, like, damaging the alcohol can be for me.
Yeah,
I've done
that's
things
how Captain Patron got.
Yeah,
Captain
I've done...
Patron.
There's things that I've done, bad or neutral, whatever, that, like, people have shown me videos of it. I'm like, I don't remember that for the life of me. Like, I was playing in Geelong, and I would always get really hammered there. That's the one thing about the Gold Coast is, like, I don't have stories about how I feel like my career was in danger because they didn't give a fuck.
Yeah.
He passed out. Let's draw a dick on his cheek and fucking, tomorrow he'll be fine as long as he's DJ. And
let's go.
Like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
This was, if you were an alcoholic, it wasn't a safe place to be working, you know? Like, because it was accepting to get really, 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 really fucked up and do some stupid shit. I've done some wild shit and stupid shit and nearly ruining type shit, but maybe I just got lucky.
But you've always had that level head, bro.
Nah.
But you've always had a level head to be able to wake up the next day, you know what I mean?
Well,
like,
I've known...
get that coffee, do your work. Like, you still had to do the mixtape. Still, creating your brand and keeping your brand on an up and up and up.
Yeah.
That wasn't just, you know what I mean?
I can't say that it was... But it was all bad, yeah.
It came hand in hand with doing that, you know. You really were at that point where, like, partying and rocking, and, man, that's what was a huge part of it.
That was
everything.
I did gigs, man. I remember doing a gig in Mackay, right? Mackay was always a crazy place like that too. And I was doing these interstate gigs a lot, right? Where it got to the point where I was like, I'll do all the, like, the Mackays and the Toowoomba's and the rural areas, right? And you do them maybe twice or three times a year, right? So, but then with the amount that you do, you kind of nearly every weekend going on the road, right? And so I might I went to a place when I was DJing with Bombs Away, but it was just me that night. I went and DJ'd at a place in, like, some out of Melbourne 2-hour city fucking club. And I got really, really hammered. I was, like, on stage, pants off, pouring fucking drinks over, like, into people's mouths. Like, the security were like, get all these people off the stage. I'm telling them to fuck off.
Yeah.
I'm, like, running up to the bar, grabbing bottles, not asking. Just, like, stuff that even, it's kind of part of the show in a way. Yeah. Like, you know, like Steve Aoki fucking popping champagne and doing shots. Like, that is part of the show. But when you actually do it, and you take it way too far, like I took it way too far, to the point where the liquor licensing people had come in, threatened that venue, right? And I then got the phone call from the agency saying, look, you can't, if you drink at a fucking gig again, we're going to drop you, you know?
Yeah.
2 weeks later, I go to Mackay, and I'm like, I can't drink. And he's like, what the fuck do you mean? The owner, right? He's like, what the fuck do you mean? Like, I don't book you to DJ. I booked you to come get fucked up with us. So fucking by the end of the night, I don't have the pants on. I finished DJing. I'm behind the bar serving drinks, fucking pouring my own drinks, you know, like just getting hammered, you know, like it was just this weird fucking balance of, like, something you would do at one place would be totally acceptable, but then at another place, it's totally damaging, right? But I always knew that I had a problem. Like, I would always take things too far. That was kind of like almost like my saving grace or whatever. Like, the fact that I knew
there was a limit to what
I'm so open to talk to people about this because the shit that I've gone through with it has been so public that I have no other choice but to address it.
Yeah.
So, like, I'm fine talking about it all. I don't give a, like, I look back on it fondly, and either as like a lesson to be learned, or fuck it, of course I had some amazing
you
times.
do not get fucked up, you know, that much anymore.
I'm sober now. Man. I've been sober this year. Like, so.
Congratulations. Amen to that.
Trying.
Yeah, boy. It's fucking hard, bro. It's hard.
It's fucking hard as fuck, bro. Like, because drinking is really the only damager for me, right? Like, I don't smoke weed. I probably will smoke weed again. Weed doesn't fuck me up.
How'd you come with the name Kronic? I didn't even ask you that. How did?
It's not from smoking weed.
Please tell the people.
It's from Dr. Dre and Snoop. right? So like as a battle DJ, right? Like it was like in my fucking mind to go, all right, I need a name that I can like find samples and and so like the fucking, can we get a motherfucking moment of silence for this small Kronic break, and then the Dr. Dre 2001 had all these Kronic samples, and Kronic was like dope, and they were dope too, and it's like I was always into East Coast, but I think I was probably more into West Coast, I think I was more Dre and Snoop, but Biggie, all of it, but when I took, in terms of taking the name, it was like, DJ Kronic, like the same way that I would approach like sampling and ripping shit. It was like my name. I got all these samples, and it like that's where it came from. I smoked weed, but I wasn't.
Did they run up and always give you weed because they thought that?
Yeah, there was a lot of times when I actually got to America that part of me wanted to change the name because I was sick of being like, nah, I'm not gonna smoke. How are you gonna have a name Kronic and not smoke? Like, and it kind of was a bit fraud in that sense, but it's not why I picked it. You know what I mean? It was like Kronic meant dope as much as it did mean weed. Yeah, like 100%. Dope as in you're dope, and it was like really fucking. It played to my DJing.
Well, that's why you've also, man, this is a great thing as well. Like you've branded yourself in so many avenues, but you still had that Kronic umbrella. You've kind of branched off into different avenues, which like now we're gonna, not now we're talking about it, but we will get to it about the Luke Wild stages. But tell them about the porn star stage. You're in the Gold Coast, you win sketch. Come on, I'm not gonna just brace past that because that shit was fucking wild. So you really, open format. Man, I want to talk about bringing LMFAO down here. Do you know what I mean? You brought the guys down here and did the show with them when it was a Black Eyed Peas tour, I'm pretty sure.
So we were,
Party Rock was fucking popping, man.
Yeah. Man, yeah, LMFAO were of that time when like electro was just starting to pop, and it was like fresh and cool, and there was Justice,
the Mr.
and Chucky, guys. And you know what I mean, like all this fucking early electro that was just so dope. It felt like hip hop to me. It was raw, it was underground, it was club. LMFAO was fucking like a part of that, like.
Yeah, because that was very West Coast, man, as well. Like, a lot of the synthesizers and things like that. I remember you had that synthesizer that I came over with. With the tube, and you were like, you used to like press the key. Yeah. You just fuck around. That's very West Coast, man. Like, and it's used in hip hop.
Yeah, like Roger Troutman and fucking George Parliament Funkadelic. Like, that funk shit.
Yeah, sorry. So go on. I'm cutting you off.
Nah, all good. Yeah, so I was fucking around with like Bombs Away, like on the Gold Coast. I meet Bombs Away. I start getting into production, making dance music. Like we just get along like a house on fire. We're partying, DJing, all that shit. They've got Big Booty Bitches at the time, which is kind of popping. They're doing DJ gigs. They're not even fucking out in front of the stage performing. They're DJing, right? And I'm like, we're fucking partying all the time, right? And doing some gigs that kind of align, they're playing here and I'm playing before them or some shit like that, right? I start talking to Sketch and I'm like, dude, you guys got to stop DJing like as the bulk of your set. Get the fuck out the front and start performing. Like this song's firing, man. Like you are an act, right? I know I wasn't the only one that said that, but I kind of remember being like, man, I'll DJ the set, because we were already fucking vibing. I'm like learning a lot of like dance and shit from them, and just that whole era and shit, right? So like I start working with them. We put out Looking for Some Girls, which is my first fucking song, which is like looking for some girls. I guess Chucky inspired electro, it was bounce before bounce happened, like it was more Chucky inspired shit, right? Started doing that, and then that kind of just exploded. We were doing in the mix voting thing, like vote for us in the mix.
Yeah, bro, and you did. You brought Looking for Some Girls tour as well. You did like the underage. You did an underage tour and you did an overage tour.
Yeah,
They're looking for some girls. I remember.
Yeah, well,
And you had the sign. You had the.
I was like
chains
an
and the signs.
unofficial part of Bombs Away,
Yeah,
sort
yeah.
of. Like, we were just, I was never really officially part of them, but we were working together so much. You know, we'd done a couple of records together.
Yeah, people just affiliated.
I helped with their film clip, like the Super Soaker film clip.
Yes, yeah.
Fuck, that shit was crazy. Like, the owners of Sin City had a penthouse apartment on the top floor of one of the biggest hotels there, and this giant private pool in the penthouse. And, you know, we fucking just got all the girls that worked in the Gold Coast up there. It was this, like, crazy bikini fucking...
Yeah, that's right, the Super Soaker.
Yeah, Super Soaker video. You know, like, just some typical fucking...
Check it out on YouTube. It's a fucking good video.
Fucking videos.
See the young Kronic days.
Yeah. And, you know, we were just fucking partying, and, like, that bled into the music. Hugely inspired from all the electro and, like, LMFAO. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it was like, we're going to put on a show, like it's a party. Like, it was cool to be about the party, you know? Like, open format DJing was like that as well. Like, it was cool.
Man, Black Eyed Peas, that was when, like, I Got a Feeling came out and was, like, fucking popping, man. You know, it was huge.
I remember when that shit came out, and I played it here at Star Bar, which wasn't even a night that you could play that shit at. It was a hip hop night.
Yeah, yeah.
It was my birthday. I was hammered. I played it 3 times in a row. And it didn't do well on the dance floor, but yeah. So that shit was just popping. I started touring with them. That's how they were signed with Ministry of Sound, the touring, like, booking agency at the time. I was their DJ, right? I'm getting all these, they're getting all these gigs, right? And then they're having to organize my shit. They're having the logistics for me, right? And a lot of the venues, I'd got a lot of, like, built a lot of relationships, because it was me and Matt doing it, right? And me before Matt. So I was still talking to promoters and shit. So I was getting on a lot of these gigs too. So it wasn't just Bombs Away featuring DJ Kronic. It was like, you get a Kronic set and a Bombs Away set, and I'd be DJing that set, right? So Ministry would kind of just, by default, they were like, fuck, maybe we should just sign this cunt and just fucking, so we don't have to, like, we might as well be taking commission. We're already handling his flights and all that shit, because Sketch was like, he's got to be there. You know what I mean? Like, I was part of the show. Like, I was the DJ at that point, right? So, you know, I've just jumped into that head first, man. We're doing Stereosonic, fucking Creamfields, wild shows. Like, it was just I remember when party
backstage.
Yeah, I remember when party music was, like, cool. Now it's not as cool. So you got to be cool. Cool, right? Party music was cool for a moment there, and, like, I sometimes miss that, because, like, you know, it was fun and it was gimmicky, but it wasn't just nothing, you know. Yeah. It was like everybody was really putting their fucking most into it, and it was dope. Like, it was dope. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it was sick, man. Dude, it was music. Like, I fucking loved it. It was the era that I grew up in, man. You know, and, like, from being a hip hop head, he still made great fucking songs.
Yeah, because, I mean, like, will.i.am's been making hip hop. Like, he was on Ruthless Records with fucking, Eazy-E signed will.i.am. You know, like, LMFAO's dad Red Foo's dad is Berry Gordy, the founder of Motown. Like, that motherfucker is in, like, he was a rapper. He was a rapper. Well, Sky Blue is his
nephew.
His nephew. So Berry Gordy's his grand something.
Great uncle,
You know, like, so I think Foo was a rapper before he was in LMFAO, like a rapper, you know, West Coast rapper, and then he got into stand-up comedy, and then he got into LMFAO, you know, like, so, I mean, that shit was dope to me.
And made epic songs, man. I remember, like, we would actually structure our sets for certain songs, you know what I mean? And we had our fucking dance
before shots, like, I'm in Miami, the Love Lockdown remix, the Lady Gaga remixes, like, that was dope shit, man.
So
like,
how did you meet them? Like,
so
that was on a tour? And then,
no. What had happened, right, is that I was going to LA. Me, Will, and Tom went to LA for the first time. I forget what year it was. This was just before I'd actually moved to the Gold Coast, so this would have been Melbourne time. Or maybe it was when I moved to the Gold Coast, but that doesn't really matter. We go to LA, and I was meeting up with Phenom from DJ City, right? And so DJ City, I don't know if you know what it is. It's like a record pool.
Yeah.
The biggest record pool in the world at the moment. But But back then, back to when I was DJing fucking here in Adelaide making hip hop mixtapes, they were an online record store, right? So I was buying my vinyls from them.
And that's where you could get edits and you can get records. You could buy
This
records.
was vinyl. They weren't doing promo, online promo. I got onto that later. I was just buying their records, right? And that's how I met Phenom, DJ Phenom, shout out to Phenom, and who he works with DJ City. He's one of the like founders of it. And at the time, I was just talking to him. You know, we just on fucking via like buying records from him and shit, right? I later found out that fucking one of the guys from Far East Movement was working there. He was one of the guys packing the records, you know, like so, like that was just a cool little throwback story that they had told me. And so when I started making like mashup mixes, and they had started making their fucking they went from making vinyl, like selling vinyl, to doing online promos, so digital downloads and shit. Yeah. And putting up
because that's where you put your songs, your
mixes and bootlegs, mainly bootlegs, because it wasn't like really for mixes. It was like, here's a song or an edit you can play in your set. It was for DJs. We didn't want mixtapes.
Yeah, because that's when you got an account.
Yeah. And so
because that was already done for you. Because that was the problem, finding good edits and stuff like that that weren't.
And the intro version, the clean version.
Yeah, they did all of that. Yeah.
That's what blew them the fuck up. And so I'd already know Phenom from the vinyls. I made this bootleg called Shots of Bonkers, which was Shots by LMFAO mixed with Bonkers by Dizzy Rascal and Armin Van Buren, is it? Or Helden, one of them. But that was dope. And so I made that bootleg, and that got on the site. And that's what Phenom was like, oh yeah, this is dope. I go to LA with Tom and Well to meet up with fucking Phenom. We become friends. Phenom later, like, we just stayed friends, stayed tight. He later becomes like kind of an acting manager, like a loose manager, let's call that, right? In the US, right? Because he's the one through DJ City that like Lil Jon found that Shots and Bonkers, and that's how he first heard the name Kronic, right? Yeah. I had met DJ Danger Zone through Phenom because they were friends, and Danger Zone works with DJ City, right? Who was the guy that linked me in with LMFAO. He was their DJ at the time, right? Yeah. I think he's Food's manager now as well. And so Phenom linked that up. And so I've become tight with Danger Zone, and we're doing the Bombs Away thing. They're already aware of, like, they knew who Bombs Away was because that Big Booty Bitch was kind of popping. Like, that was, especially in that scene. Yeah. If you were a DJ and you were onto it, you knew what that record like was over there, you know. So, like, I knew a bunch of them guys. And, you know, when fucking, when we found out that LMFAO were coming out here on tour with Black Eyed Peas, I was like, fucking Danger, like, you gotta hook this up, rah, 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 like, see what we can do. You know, I started getting on my fucking hustle tip, like, all right, well, what can we do? Like, can we get them to the club? Like, rah, rah, we got them at a cheap fee. And, you know, I had printed, you know how they had I'm in Miami t-shirts? I'm DJ Kronic bitch.
I still got one of those t-shirts somewhere.
Yeah, I gave T-Pain one of them, right?
Did you?
In the Gold Coast, yeah. I got a photo of him with it. It's funny as fuck.
But you were really about your promo game, Kron. Like, we learnt it off you, like, with the CDs, with the t-shirts, you know, like, and really always showing up. You always had something to give. Like,
yeah, man, it's part of it, man. Like, the show is so much a part of it. Like, when you're a DJ or a performer or an artist, like, if are gonna perform, like, you need to put a separate effort into that. You know what I mean? Like, it's more than just rock up, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like, and at the time, it was about, like, big and fucking, you know, gimmicky, like, let's fucking have t-shirts and fucking blow up things and whistles. Yeah. We were going through the whistle stage for a minute there.
Yeah, we were,
like, man. Signs and stickers and shit was dope,
Stickers was wild, yeah.
Yeah, and, like, I mean, the LMFAO gig was, like, wasn't very busy here in Adelaide. They weren't popping then, you know? They had shots, but
man, that was such an intimate time as well. After we
you know what? I remember what happened.
Fucked up with
them.
We got
hammered with them. The fucking the electricity cut out.
Yeah, that's right. Yes,
right?
Yes.
My mate Lenny was there on the guitar.
Yeah.
And we all go because by that time the electricity was out for that long, but all the LMFAO crew were there drinking, so they didn't want to stop partying, right? So we all went over to the pool table section, and there was like the handful of people left at the club because by that time, like,
and we
it
were
kind
just
of
playing
ended,
shots, acoustic.
and it was the acoustic versions of LMFAO songs, like shots, like with this acoustic rendition. They're wearing I'm DJ Kronic Bitch t-shirts. We're all hammered, all that shit.
That was a very wild.
Yeah, I
night.
remember
I'll never
fucking
forget that. It was just
running down, like at the end, running down with Q and the other guys, part of their entourage to Hungry Jack's.
Yeah.
Like
Dude,
singing, I'm LMFAO,
yeah.
rock the beat and rock the show.
then,
Boom, and then I kicked the window in of Hungry Jack's. I was like, fuck.
And then the manager comes out, and the poor girl, you go up, you're like, I'm DJ Kronic, bitch. You were that fucked up. That's exactly what you said to her.
Yeah, because
Ed, prior to that,
but
it was me, your brother Sammy. Shout out Sammy C, because he was always my partner in crime. Because they used to be
you're his friend,
like,
not mine.
You were DJ, Ed Crunk would DJ, and we were the two rejects that always had to stay back. And we would just get fucked up of your riders, right? That's how
I always
started.
say that with Sammy, right? Like me and Sam, anytime I'm like, we talk on the phone or I'm coming to catch up with you, I'm like, oh, Sammy, I'm going to see your mate. Like, because you guys were
yeah,
thick
he
as
is
thieves.
my mate. I fucking love Sammy. I love you, Sammy.
Sammy C.
Yeah, and I remember we were going there, right? And you just started running, and fucking we cross the road, and then you run up to the cabbie, and you don't remember this.
No.
You try to get into the cab, and you're trying to open the cab driver's door, and then he fucking drives off.
Oh.
And we're like, Kronic, Luke, come on.
I don't know how I get away with all this shit.
It was the wildest shit.
I've done hundreds and hundreds of things. Like, yeah.
Dude, I remember when you were passed out in bedroom. You're like in the back booth, you're like, I'm gonna go to the toilet. I'm like, where the fuck's Kronic walking this? I remember that.
I've
like
passed
second
out
time in the Gold Coast.
So many venues, man. I remember. There's Zach Ross will probably remember this. The guy from Cairns, right? I remember playing in Cairns. I don't really remember this. All I remember was coming to in the lobby naked, and the fucking like the room service people were like coming at me with a towel to cover me up, right? And like,
no fucking way.
Fuck, and I don't know how I got there. Apparently, I had like gone back to the room with a chick, and I guess she had left, and I just walked out naked, and then just passed out like in like the corner of the lobby, and to get waken up by so many crazy things. I remember in that same venue, different hotel, obviously. The promoters like come to pick me up, right? And they're like, the receptionists are like, oh, he's not in his room. Like, we don't know where he is. And Zach's freaking like, fucking Kronic, man. He's trying to ring me. Fucking, he goes out, like, turns around. I'm passed out in the lobby again. He's like, fuck, you missed your fucking flight, man.
Oh,
like,
really?
I missed so many flights in my career. It's funny, but it's stupid too, you know?
Oh, man, but you had fun. They're memorable moments.
Oh, yeah.
Or unmemorable moments.
I remember it was like, I would call myself DJ Kronic, aka book me 2 flights because I'm going to miss one of them. That used to be my tagline. In any interview, we're like, yep, DJ Kronic, aka Mr. Umber, book me 2 flights because I'm going to miss one of them. That was, yeah, a bit of a
That's when you were wild,
yeah. Yeah, I would miss my flight.
So
Notorious.
That's when you were really like that's when you were touring. Like, so Australian tours kicked then.
Yeah, that's when
and you were like doing a lot of international, you know, working with international artists. That's when the fucking festival scene was popping.
Yeah, the festival scene was something else here in Australia. Hey man, like that shit died in the ass, but
it did, unfortunately.
Yeah,
stereos and all that.
Oh, well,
but we had wicked nights at Future Music.
Yeah, man. Yeah, but so like I was doing a lot of touring here in Australia and a bit of Asian stuff. Like it was always like Bali and Thailand were always like the first go-to option. But I was always going back out to LA. Like LA has just been my dream, you know, like hip hop. You know what I mean? Like that's the entertainment industry fucking headquarters.
So when did you and Matt make that stamp to say like, you know what, we're gonna fucking flex? Because
So what had happened,
from the
right?
Gold Coast straight to LA?
No. I was in Gold Coast for a while, right? Doing all the Bombs Away stuff.
Then you went to Sydney, right?
Then I went to Sydney
Yeah.
around the time that I started doing. I'm gonna say it's not more serious, but I remember DJing with Bombs Away at Shooters nightclub. It was Schoolies, whatever year that was, when Shooters burnt down. Right? I don't know if you heard about that. When Shooters burnt to the ground. We were DJing. It was the middle of our fucking set, right? We were DJing, right, in Schoolies. There were 4,000 people in this club, right? And it just gets smokier and smokier. I'm like, fucking turn the smoke machines off. Turn the smoke machines off. Get to a point where, like, man, there's something wrong. Something's broken, and the alarm had been going off for a while, but we started noticing the music's too loud to notice, right? And then, so, the people realized there's a fucking fire happening somewhere in the bottom of the venue, right? And it's just smoking out the place. So they just evacuate everyone, middle of our set, right? Yeah. Evacuate everyone. We had the GoPro on the wall, right? And we later found, got it, right? And looked at the footage, and you see everyone leaving, the room filling with this black smoke. Then Andy, the guy whose camera it was, running back quickly, grabbing the camera. He runs out, a second, a minute later, the security who had just swept the venue to see if anyone else was in there left, and the roof collapses, right? Fucking black smoke billowing out of this thing, across the Gold Coast. 4,000 schoolies. Fucking loving it. Yeah. It was wild. We're just, whoa, what the fuck? But I just remember, I remember that schoolie, a lot of kids from Melbourne were coming up asking for this Wolf Sparks. I'd only just got onto hearing this shit, right? And that was really the shift from when, the stuff that the party fun stuff became suddenly a little bit uncool. It was gimmicky now, Yeah. And it was about being harder and underground, and you know what I mean? A bit more like that. And,
back to the sitcom.
And I was I was interested in the very hardest shit, right? And so I started working with Charty, and we did the SWAT team song, which was the Everybody Fucking Jump. That fucking vocals, I lost my breath. So I did that record, which then kind of projected me a bit more into the serious, dance world, especially becoming a solo artist. Yeah. Not just a DJ, not just someone that works with Bombs Away, but Kronic as a solo, musical artist, right? And that was really, I guess probably with SWAT Team was the one that, it was with Charty, but it wasn't I wasn't considered to be a part of Bombs Away, which a lot of the dance community maybe considered me to be at the time, right?
Because you were still doing Ableton, man. I still remember you were.
I was into Ableton, man. Yeah.
In the
and
Gold
it took me a long time to get good, man. It really fucking did. But, so I start doing that. I start working, me and Crunk start working on records, all that shit. We can get into that. But then I'm going back and forth from America. And it's really through Phenom that I meet two people, right? I meet Paul Blair, DJ White Shadow, he's Lady Gaga's DJ, and he produced a bunch of her albums. This dude's a fucking mega producer, right? He was a friend of Phenom's. He introduced me to him, and he also introduced me to Lil Jon, right? I meet Lil Jon at a club in Vegas. We just hang out. He's cool and humble as shit. Meet him a couple of times. Phenom was look, when you're ready, we can send him a song. It's not but you got to make sure it's the one, right? You can't. We might only get one shot at this, right? Yeah. He knows who you are. He's heard a couple of bootlegs. You know what I mean? And John's open. He's always got his eyes and ears open to the fucking scene. Cause before Corona, he was DJing 3 nights a week. The motherfucker's a touring DJ. And he's dope at it, right?
He never stops.
He considers himself a DJ more than anything. I feel right? And so Fee's make sure you got the right one. And so this was after me and Crunk had come back from
Miami?
Miami, right?
Because in that time you made Hey Ho and 3%.
And 3%.
Yeah.
He talked to you about that,
Yeah,
how
yeah,
it was the
yeah.
one song, right?
Yeah.
So Hey Ho had just come out, right? We were prepping 3%, which was really Hey Ho, right? We were kind of putting that together to make 3%. I'd only told Krunk this recently as well, actually. I swear I told him this ages ago, but I mean, he says this is new information to him. But I was like, I'm going to send 3% to John. I'm like, this is the one, right? He's heard Hey Ho. Like, he plays it. Plays some of the bootlegs. He's playing Krunk's bootlegs too. Like, I think, what's that one that always got played off here? The fucking Calabria one.
Yeah. Dude, that's...
Yeah, right?
Oh, my God.
He did that. I knew John was playing that, so I'm like, man, this is the one. Like, we'll send him 3%. Sophia's like, yep, I agree. Let's do it. Send it, email it to John. He emails me back and he's like, man, this is dope. Make me something like this, but at like 100 BPM, 100 BPM. I'm like, all right, sick. Go to work. I open that session. I open some of the other sessions from SWAT team, or like, you know, I had made a bootleg of Krunk's Calabria. I made a bootleg of his bootleg, right? For my sets, right? Yeah. I made another drop at the end. And so I went, grab that synth, boom, boom, boom. And it's funny because I tell John this story now, and he's like, you motherfucker, that's dope. Like, so I pull Usher, Yeah, which he produced. I pull Get Low and Snap Your Fingers into Ableton, and I learn I'm like, fuck, all right. And because I don't know music, right? But I like started figuring out like the similarities. All right, they go up a fifth and then a semitone. All right, there's certain patterns that John, like that these hit records that he's had follow, right? And so I'm like, all right, I'm messing around like that, and I've got my synth and I'm playing it. I'm just slowed down some twerk drums, take that synth from my bootleg of Krunk's Calabria, and it's fucking, that's when I come up with the melody for Bend Over, right? Send that off to John, right? But I come up with that melody, another melody, and then a variation of the first one, and then another one, right? So I'm like, but I send it to him as this one long thing. I'm like, here's 4 ideas. So what do you mean 4 ideas? This is fucking dope. Cut the end one off. I'm gonna make this my next single. It's like, what? Like, all right, 6. So I go to work, start trying to finish it. You know, like he adds his touches to it, adds some drums, adds some sounds, rah rah rah. We get this other guy to come in and like do the mix and master of it all.
Yeah.
So I'm like, fucking suddenly, I'm fucking working with Lil Jon, right? He sends like, fucking makes Bend Over out of it, right? What happens though is he sends me back that email, and then I don't hear from him though for maybe about 4 months. In that time, I'm going to LA again, and I'm meeting up with Paul, the guy I was telling you, the second guy that introduces me, that phenom introduces me. We got a record plant, right? And he's in there with like Matthew Comer and Chris Brown, right? And he's like, I'll be out in a minute. Takes me into this other room and just talking shit with him. And like, I'm not used to being in studios. I don't know, but the process is like none of that shit. He's like, all right, play me some records. So I start playing him. I played him some of this. He's playing me all sorts of shit. I want to hear your range, right? So I play him some of the dance stuff I'm doing. I play some of like the hip hoppy twerk shit that's kind of me. I play some of the weird rock shit I was working on with Shawnee B, which was kind of fire. And then I play him the instrumental for Bend Over, right? And he's like, all right, yeah, fuck yeah, this is sick, right? Like, so he then signs me to a publishing deal with his publishing company, right? So I get this pub deal off of all this shit, right? He's like, all right, I want to send this. I think he wanted to send it to like some other hip hop artist that he knew, the Bend Over beat. I'm like, send it, but I don't know. Like, I thought John, by not hearing from him for 4 months or something, that it wasn't happening, right? At the time. And so I'm like, yeah, send it, but I'm going to have to ask him, you know, like, I don't know if he's going to use it, right? I don't know if the timeline's correct, but it felt like it was the next day. John hits me up and he sends me this, like, here's the record, and it's the vocal version. And I'm like, what, we're back on? Fuck yeah. So suddenly I get this record with Lil Jon. I sign a publishing deal, right? That takes a few months to happen, but like beginning of it starts there, right? So I'm like, fuck yeah. The missus I'm with at the time, she wants to move to America. So we kind of like go in on an apartment there so I'm not living there, but when I go there, you know how with the extras, you can only stay for 90 days or whatever, 60 days or whatever. So I do that and stay for like a couple of months at a time, come back. Not even a couple of months, to tell you the truth, like, because I couldn't take that much time off of DJing back here. So I'd go for maybe 2 weeks to a month to come back, whatever, right?
But it was good because you were still popping. That's when you were making, you were touring here a lot, man. And then
crazy.
Kind of making your income here, going over there.
Yeah.
Learning more.
Oh, fucking, it was busy as fuck, but it was dope, right? And then, you know, as the song's developing, like the finishing of it, you know, there's this middle section and John's like, I want to get an artist on it. And suddenly he's like, all right, cool. Fucking Tiger's going to send us some vocals tonight. Next thing you know, Tiger sends vocals and like, then he's on the record. And, you know, the rest is history with that song. Like, fucking came out. It did pretty well, but it did way better in the clubs than it did selling, right?
Yeah.
It did fairly well, but like, it's a song that, you know, to this day, if people are playing Twerk, they'll obviously play Turn Down for What, which I had nothing to do with, but like, they'll obviously play that and then they might
switch it into
let's go to Bend Over, you know, like that was.
But man, how'd you get it in the movies as well? Like,
that's all John, man. Like, I think I probably contributed maybe to like 1 or 2 placements, because the publishing deal which I'd signed, Paul just had good connections, and the teams he worked with, Matt was out there hustling.
Yeah.
Like, you know, being my manager, him and Paul got along, like they're best of friends now. And, you know, a lot of it comes down to luck, but with my stuff, I feel, but you know, like John is a very syncable artist, you know, like his voice just sounds like the movies. Like if you need a club scene where you're turning up, you can pick a little John record, right? And so like his team just went to work, and that was in Parks and Recreation. It was on Get Hard with Will Ferrell and fucking Kevin Hart. It was in some chick flick that I forget the name of, and like 2 or 3 other things, right? And it was like, fuck, suddenly this record's getting, you know, he's very good.
Wait, which one of your records made Fast and the Furious?
That was Push.
That was Push.
Yeah.
That was
I've
Savage.
had some good luck with fucking syncs, man. Like, it's been pretty good. Like, I did that record, I think I made it here in Sydney, and I forget how it actually started. I think it started with Far East Movement. I'm pretty damn sure.
How does that go as well, man? Because like you're saying,
I mean, them again.
You know, Phenom,
Phenom, right? Phenom is
right
like,
at the start, and then man, you
like I was saying, Far East, the guy, they were packing vinyl like before they were Far East Movement. They worked with, like, they're tight with the DJ City crew, like that's all family, right? And through Phenom, I was and I guess through like having to deal with Paul, like, you know, I'm like, there's some clout to be able to get put into rooms, to you know, sessions and shit over there. They set up like a session with Far East Movement. They're the coolest, most humblest of guys, man. Like, they're absolute fucking legends, down to earth. We went out, fucking ate, chilled, all that shit. Did some sessions together. We worked on a bunch of things, to tell you the truth. Like, that's how a lot of that stuff happens. It's like, that's where I really learned to make as much music as I can, you know, because it's never, was a couple of times at the start that I'd be like, oh, you're going in with this artist, whoever they are, like big or small or no one, whatever. Kind of, all right, I'm going to craft this thing for that session. I'll make this dope thing that I think is wild. You play it to them, and even if they're like, oh yeah, that's awesome, what else have you got? There's always what else have you got? Yeah. So it's like, it taught me to like build on the spot, create on the spot, but then also, you know, build your fucking catalog, build your arsenal. You want to be able to have more to play than they can listen to, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
And so that's what I did.
Until they go, oh fuck, this is the one.
Yeah, let's just go back. Like, I've heard 3 or 4 or 5 or 10, but let's go back to that one, right? You know what I mean? Like, but I want to see what else there is, you know?
Because that's a real different format from where you were coming before, man.
Dance
From being
music,
in the
man,
bedroom, more dance.
Well, and EDM in Australia, like, was very much like you would make music for yourself, the artist. You had to make it all yourself. You had to mix, master it all yourself. You couldn't get anyone else to write it if it was ghostwriting. Ghost producers. I don't even understand that fucking term. Like, a producer is meant to be in the background. That's how it's always been in the whole of music forever. Yeah. Right? It's only of recent that the producer has taken the forefront, which is good in many ways, but, like, you know what I mean? So I learned in that era. But it gave me an advantage in some ways. Like, it was like military training, you know? Like, I had to learn how to mix and had to learn how to master. Never thought I was any good, right? But then I realized I get over to America and I start being able to collaborate with musicians, and, like, it was a studio full of people as opposed to me by myself working on a laptop, you know, which, you know, there's positives and negatives to both, obviously, but, like, it was great to be able to learn both sides, right? And so, you know, I learned a lot more though over there, like, working with different people from different genres. Because then you work with writers and working with writers, working with musicians that approach production from that way, you know what I mean? And just so I was doing a lot of sessions, you know. Back to the Far East Movement one though, you know, we had worked on a few things, but the Push record was the favorite, obviously. I forget who. I feel like I knew Savage. I had met him years and years ago. But I think it was actually Ministry that were like, let's put Savage on this, right? And so but when that happened, it was just like fucking, that felt like a match made in heaven for that record, you know, like they had already known each other, Far East and Sav, like, so they were like kind of tight, and that record just came together dope, man. It was a hassle to put together. Like, there was a bit of like behind the scenes clashing with like just contracts and shit or some shit, and like, I don't know, I don't think the record got pushed as much as it should have. No pun intended. But it did pretty well. Then Matt one day goes, dude, I got an email from someone on the Facebook page who says they're like from the music team at whatever movie studios does Fast and the Furious, and they want to use Push, right? We should like follow this lead. This is not from any of the signings or nothing. Matt hits that up. Turns out like he knows the person, has met them before, like they are actual legit. I think he's quite good friends with them now. They're like, we want to use it. Fucking boom! It's become the Fast and the Furious trailer song.
Which is huge. You're so fucking humble about
it, man.
Which is
crazy to me.
Motherfucker from Adelaide.
Right? But then,
multi-franchise,
they're like,
man.
the trailer's going to drop soon. Another trailer comes out. It's not in it. All right. No, it's dropping soon. Another trailer comes out. Because you know how there's like 5 or 6 fucking trailers?
Yeah.
Put 2 or 3 out. And I'm like, fuck, maybe we didn't get it. Because that's what you got to learn with like, with syncs, right? Until you watch it in the fucking movie or wherever the placement is, it's not real, you know?
Yeah.
I've had things that like were almost real. Like I had a record with Justin Bieber on it, right? That will probably never ever see the light of day, right? But so until it comes out, it's not real, really.
Yeah.
Right? And so we were like, this might not happen, right?
Sorry, the boys are just stunned. Like, they're so stunned. Oh. Yeah, this motherfucker has worked with the best of the best. And I'm going to make sure that he just, like, names a few before he fucking
I don't like name dropping, eh?
Like, I know, but... No, I don't... Bro,
and we kind of got deep into the backstory.
Yeah, you're not doing it in a cocky way, though, man. Like, this is so inspiring for people. Like, dude, you're from the south of Adelaide. Do you know what I mean? Like, you just worked your ass off. You never knew any of this shit, bro. You've always been thrown in the deep end, and you just make the best of it. Like,
yeah, man.
You know, dude, you grew in the era as well. Before there was, like saying, the YouTube tutorials. People that are fucking complaining like, I can't make it, I can't do it, or I don't want to do anything. you are the proof in the pudding. There was times where I was fucking hating on myself, and you've motivated me as a
I
friend.
feel like that all the time. You know
But
what I
just
mean?
the things that you
Like,
say, bro, you can do it. Like, if you really want to do it, that's what
You
you'd always
just-
say. You can fucking do
yeah,
it.
you can, and
You know?
but
You're
you gotta
the living
be
proof of it, bro.
and you gotta be willing to change and to move. You know, my goals and my direction has changed so many times, right? Because I'm very willing to go with the flow. You know what I mean? Like, 'cause like going back to the dance thing and like and catching the vibe of what's going on, and like you move with where you are. You know,
Yeah.
like that's why I've gone through so many genres. Like, I can't just do one thing, man. Like, it's too boring to me. Some things that I liked, don't really like anymore. You know,
Yeah.
not that I don't look back on them and be like, oh, that was dope, and I
Man,
can
you had a
enjoy
whole
it then.
other part of your
but-
EP you didn't drop. You know what I mean?
The what?
You had the other part of your EP. Was the ignorance of independence?
Oh, sophisticated ignorance.
Sophistication of ignorance, sorry.
Yeah, sophisticated ignorance.
Fucking hell, I'm all over the place. Independence, jeez. Yeah, you had the part 2, bro. That was fucking sick.
Oh, bro.
You never put that out.
We'll
I
get
know,
in. Yeah,
that
I mean,
was a moment in
that
time
nearly
that you
became
had.
Luke Wild stuff too.
So we might see that again?
Oh yeah, well we'll get to that. We're still a little way away.
Yeah. That's great, man. We got all
if
the
you want to
fucking
go
time in the world,
linear,
bro.
all right? If you want to go like,
I want to
in
speak
order.
as long as you want to give the game, bro.
Um,
I'm just blessed that we can have you in the studio because I know
Cheers,
you're
man.
such a traveling motherfucker.
oh,
And-
not well. I'm here now. Though,
I know,
like.
man. We need to
It'll
make
all
more of
wrap
it.
up though. I'll be able to explain where I feel like I am and moving forward. But back to the push joint, right? I'll finish that. I was waiting for this trailer to drop, right? Then the Super Bowl's about to come. And we're like, Matt's like, dude,
And Super Bowl weekend is
Super, and they're like,
big, man,
Super
in
Bowl
the
ads
States.
are like the Old Spice. Now I'm on a horse.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
now the tickets are diamonds. You know that?
Yeah,
dude?
yeah.
I'm in a tower. That guy, like, so like Super Bowl ads are fucking like that's prime time. And Matt's like, man, fuck. It looks like the last trailer is, if this song's in it, it's in the Super Bowl fucking trailer drop. So not only did I get the fucking trailer for Fast and the Furious, it was the trailer that premiered at Super Bowl. And then, so, like, that was fucking...
Yeah, that's it's ridiculous records,
Oh.
man. It's like
Yeah.
100 million or something. That
I
are
didn't
all
get
watching at
paid
that
any
time.
extra for it. Like,
yeah.
but it doesn't matter. Like, some people were like, "Oh, you could have got so much more money if you knew," and I'm like, "Well, we didn't know that they were going to use it there, and also, like, I signed off on it. You know, I was like,
Yeah.
man, use this record. Like, I've always been someone that's like, while I'm coming up, you know, like, I'll give you half price. I'll give you that. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I'll work for free. Like, I'll make sure I get what I'm fucking owed, but I will, like,
But you know
I'll do
that's going to
favors.
lead
I'll
into
work on spec.
opportunity,
I'll
man.
do, yeah, man. You gotta be humble, and you gotta know how to work and like maneuver within the industry if you want to make it and last in this industry.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean? And
Yeah,
so,
I feel you, man.
like, yeah, that was a big moment. Then that's when I started down more on the twerk and like kind of electronic pop way with my music, right? I was getting into a lot of sessions and also trying to write pop music, and not just pop, anything, but like it was kind of mainly pop shit that was landing. You know, so I'm working on the Kronic artistry stuff. That's where you see the shift, right? That's what leads into sophisticated ignorance. I go to America, I start learning how to produce over there. I start working with some of the best fucking writers I've ever worked with. And I'm like, man, I'm better than I thought I was. Like, all I needed was to get in with like these writers who could, like, together we can build this.
Yeah,
and I get
yeah.
in with this muser, like,
Feed off each
like,
other, man.
you know, like,
Yeah.
I learned what a producer actually is. Like, there's a lot of shit I could do 100% on my own. The new project I'm working on is that. But then there's like a lot of stuff that takes an army to build. You know what I mean? Like, I've always been one that's like, oh, bring 3 more writers in. Who gives a fuck? I don't care if we cut the pie 100 different ways if it makes the record better. You know what I mean?
I love that. Yeah.
Like, to me, it's about the end result. I was always one who was like, if I had a dope writer friend, I'd be like, what do you think of this? What could you add to this? Oh, but what? Then you got to cut them in. So, like, they made it better, even if it was one fucking line.
Well, Marsh even said that. I go, do you get your records mixed and mastered, or do you do it yourself? And he goes, I always get them mixed and mastered from someone else, because he goes, if they can push it that extra 10%,
yeah, man.
He goes, that 10% can fucking make it.
Yeah, I'm a
go
huge
that much further.
Kanye fan, right? Like, my favorite album ever of all fucking time in music is My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, right? That's the best piece of music ever made, I think. And that is just such a collaborative piece of art that is just all genres put together through the DNA of hip hop. Like, it's perfection hip hop, and it's the best music ever made. And it's just all Elton John and the RZA. You know what I mean? Like, fucking Kid Cudi and fucking Raekwon and like fucking Alicia Keys. Like, it's just
Prince
and all the fucking orchestral. I forget the guy's name. All the like the orchestral guys playing on that shit, and like, it's just this melting pot of inspiration. It feels like a Tarantino movie to me. Like, My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy to me feels like a Tarantino movie and a Wu-Tang album, which is kind of what Kill Bill is to me, because Kill Bill is like Tarantino's like kung fu movie, where there's all these like direct like scenes and things that he's stolen from other things and done it in his own style, and with the score and music from the RZA of the Wu-Tang. It feels like to me.
And dude, I can see your inspiration in that, especially in your newer stuff.
Oh,
Your latest music videos, they're very structured in that way, man. Your latest promo videos.
I'm gonna write movies
and I can see that, man. You've got that kind of old. That's the first thing I thought watching. I'm like, man, this got that Kill Bill vibe to it. That's what I took from it.
That might be my favorite movie of all time.
It is pretty fucking wild, eh?
Yeah. And the RZA is a big part of why that is, because I'm such a Wu-Tang fan too. Who's your favorite Wu-Tang member? Well, RZA or ODB.
Okay, yeah.
Like, RZA, just because he put it together.
Yeah. Like, mine's Method Man.
I mean, Meth.
I love Meth, bro.
Fire.
I think, because as a lyricist, lyrics.
Oh yeah, but
flow,
I mean,
like, I'm talking flow. Like, I don't know if he's the best lyricist on there, but I
Ghost
know
is probably the best.
Probably, Ghostface,
yeah.
He's grimy, man. He's
like, Ghost is probably the best. Old Dirty to me is.
But most uniqueness by far. He doesn't even say words and he fucking makes it, sound dope. Man, I feel
like the stuff I'm doing with Swamp, like the blues artist I'm working with, like, that dude's the best singer I've ever worked with. Like, he's incredible. Right?
So you met. That's how you met in LA. He was a part of your writing camp.
He signed to Paul also, right? Right. When I met Izzy, his name's Israel. When I met Iz, he was singing smooth, like, his voice was smooth, and he's a vocal teacher, right? He can do all sorts of voices, and he sung like a lot of his stuff was really smooth, like R&B, right? And he's a great writer, all that shit. We worked on a bunch of stuff. Like, at the time, we were working on a bunch of pop records to either like send to Lady Gaga or Pitbull, because Paul was working on Gaga joint and Fee was working with Pitbull, right? So we were working on a bunch of shit to send to them. And is writing a bunch of hooks and shit like that. So he's singing all this like in a smooth way, right? Really dope, great for placement, all that stuff. It wasn't until later on down the track, around the time when I did Have a Drink on Me, that we really heard him belt and growl in his voice, and that was the point when I was like, dude, hold the fuck up. That's what you got to do.
You're wild.
That's the voice. Like, I need you to growl. There's so many times that he would have to pull away from the growl, because as a writer, who the fuck are you gonna write for with a voice like that sounds like Muddy Waters?
Yeah.
Muddy was one of my favorite artists, man. That's one of the best voices in music ever. and like, but
It's
that's
muddy
not a
waters,
good
man.
writing
How big
voice.
is
It's
he?
like you need to sound
But that's the
kind
blues,
of flat
man.
and
That's
generic
the
to
blues.
like just so anybody can adopt it. That
Yeah.
what you write, and that is the blues. So no one had really pushed him to do that, and he was not like. That was him also channeling like his church roots too, which like he kind of stepped away from making gospel music, and you know, like so diving back into the blues and gospel, I'm like, man, nah, that's what we got to bring back, dude. Like that's your artist, that's you as the artist, and the stuff that we're working on now, like the dude builds the whole choir himself. It sounds like a whole church choir, like Kanye's Sunday service, but it's all him on every single track. Like I'll play you
So
something
he's
after.
doing all the different octaves and different
Dude,
notes.
This dude is
He's
out of
harmonizing
control.
all of himself. Yeah.
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 I'm putting this out there to the world. I'm gonna get him with Usher. Like I'm gonna do that. That's gonna happen.
He is wild, man.
Yeah.
Just from hearing him on your EP and some of the singles that you've put out, man. Yeah, very unique artist.
Yeah, and right now the stuff I'm working on that would have been Luke Wild stuff is all going to him at the moment because I just think he needs to be that artist, you know? So like that's where.
And that's what you kind of like to do as well, because you're working.
Oh yeah, I
you
like
work with artists. Man.
Yeah,
you like
man.
being that old school producer that sits back.
Well,
and,
just
and,
producer.
And, you know,
yeah, it's not even old school. It's like
yeah, true.
yeah, it's just producer. Yeah,
not an EDM one. Yeah, I'm used to speaking
EDM.
But yeah.
And so you know, like, and I had learnt that around that time that I was meeting Izzy. You know, we were doing the stuff like I was saying with for Pitt and that, and fuck, I forget, like, because Pitbull and Lil Jon were like John put Pitt on. You know, he did Kulo and them early Pitbull records, right? But Pitbull was kind of like a harder street artist, right?
Yeah, he was.
And,
yeah, damn it, man.
Oh man, like he was. That shit was.
Dude, that was the jam.
Dirty Miami shit. Woo! That shit was fire. And so yeah, again, like Fee had set that up. We start writing some stuff for Pitt. End up going to the Dominican Republic with him. Right, he flies us out to the Dominican Republic.
Please tell us that fucking story, man.
Well, there's not really a story.
What do you mean? You stayed in his mansion?
Well, we stayed in some like pretty dope houses that he's got. Worked, partied a lot, but you know, there's not much more I can say. But we built a good relationship, a good working relationship. The stuff we were sending, he was vibing with. Pitt is very much like when you get his ear, he'll send you 100 ideas. You should flip this song, this song, this song, this song, this song, you know. And so we're making all these bootlegs and shit. And I flipped this old house song, which he gets J-Lo on, right? And fucking makes a record with J-Lo that goes on his album. And then he gets this other record that I made with Xavier done, right, with a fucking Coke bottle. It's this flute lead. And so we get the Coke bottle, we do the, you know, like we right, recorded that on the iPhone, made this drop out of the Coke bottle, right? I still got the Coke bottle because like it made the album, right? And so like, that I got them on the Pitbull album. That record has fucking R. Kelly on it, who is now an evil fucking bastard for all the shit he's done. But I mean, you know,
crazy turn of events,
like,
that one.
Yeah, I mean, like, you can't deny his work, but
insane voice.
And at the time, it was like when we didn't know all this shit, it was like that's pretty fucking dope to work with him. Yeah. But it's not really something I kind of boast about at the moment, but it is worth mentioning, I guess. And then like that was just a time when, you know, I was just working studio sessions, writing. You know, like I meet Kay James, who is Justin Bieber's DJ, and he like go do some sessions with him. A lot of the guys that work with these artists, even a lot of the artists, they're so down to earth and humble, and like I've become friends with, say, the engineer or the DJ, and like they're just normal dudes, man. And like we go on a fucking In-N-Out burger or you know, Whole Foods together, like getting a feed, and then we'll go to the studio, play Kay a bunch of beats. Fucking, I remember waking up in Sydney. I was living in Sydney at the time. We were bouncing back and forth between Sydney and LA. I remember waking up and my phone's blowing up and like they're like, man, fucking check us just need this Instagram, right? And like so he'd post a snippet of the song that he had made over my beat, right? And I'm like, what the fuck? Like shit, this is gonna happen. So like it's something I can talk about and I play people and show people because he posted a snippet of it. But it was around that time that he like it was just after that he starts working with Skrillex. And that's when they kind of scrapped the whole album they had been working on and just, all right, I'm only working with Skrillex and we're doing this Purpose album. And that was kind of what happened. And
yeah, right.
It's kind of the way of the world, of the industry, right? Is like the bigger the artist, the more songs get written for them that never see the light of day. So you'll see like, there'll be people that'll go to, like, there'll be the A-list writers and producers that'll go to a Rihanna writing camp or whatever, right, and write 300-400 songs, or even just 100 songs written to completion, recorded, hit records for them to pick the 15 for the album, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
So, like, that's, you just kind of got to learn that. I've got some cool fucking records on my hard drive that may never see the light of day, like Chris Brown and Tiger Joint.
But it's wild how you're still,
joint.
how you balancing, man. Like, yeah, from working and ghosting for like, you know, well, having that's through the publishing deal, you know,
well, and just connections I've built over there.
Yeah, like Yin Yang Twins, things like that. But then you're also managing your own artists and your own self.
It was a lot of work, yes, and it was a balancing act, but one helped the other, you know? Like I was able to show people what I can do and that I can do it.
Yeah.
And that we can put records out and succeed with it. That was a benefit of being from Australia in that scene, was that like you could be like, look, we got number ones on the club chart here.
Yeah.
Right? Which that's not a Billboard number one. But that's still something, you know? And when you can say that like this is what I've done here, it's some clout you can take over there. Like the ceiling's way higher over there in the pop and like the more mainstream world. So like it's harder to climb. But you know, we could go over there from here with like something to like really pin to our name and
well, you guys, you signed Far East Movement's track to your
dude,
to your
well,
label,
that's
man,
the genius
of
Matt as well. Like he
shout out
took
Downey, he knows his shit,
Matt
boy.
GC, and that's like he did a lot of I feel like he did what I did, but on the industry side of things. I hustled hard when it comes to the creative and working on the music, and he did that. Like he's now working for Rock Nation. You know what I mean? Like
Jay-Z, baby. Jay-Z.
Bro, yeah. I went into the building and saw the man in the building.
Yeah.
Know? It was like
he's suited and booted, isn't he? Still ready to go.
No, he was actually wearing like just chill gear. He was chilling eating lunch. I didn't meet him, but yeah, it was kind of cool being 6 foot away from Jay-Z. Yeah, that was kind of dope. But yeah, so you know, you just fucking learn. A lot of it was just connections, man. Like and keeping the networks, and you know, I was, you know, G Wizard, right? He's like one of my best friends, and who I like a peer that I work with a lot, right? And he had kind of taken on the role that I had doing as well, right? He's very big on like helping young artists and bringing Australian producers and writers together. He's got studios in Sydney that he does that in, right? And we often have that conversation where it's like, man, like we gotta get out there and do this and like set an example of how you can do it and how we can all do it together.
Yeah. You
know what I mean? And so
it's like go out there, learn to then bring it back and be able to teach
it. And then on the other side of it is like if we're kind of in this cool like balancing act of like I'll write 100 songs to send out to maybe try get a placement, right? Out of them 100 songs, if you're only a writer and you don't ever get a placement, you might just be sitting there with 100 songs in your hard drive forever. 200 next year, 300 the year after, right? What we can do as like the independent route, we know how to run labels. We know how to put things out and do that as an artist. So we would take these records and be like, all right, well, let's start putting some of them out. These ones aren't biting, but these are dope records. Let's put them out as Kronic record. G Wizard do the same thing, you know?
Yeah.
So that some of the records that I was putting out, like Rendezvous, Restricted, like I would have happily sold them if like Restricted to me sounds like a Weekend record. If the Weekend had taken that, I'd be like, oh, I'm gonna need to find another record for Kronic because that's the Weekend song,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
Like, and that's how we've forever been approaching this. It's
And
like,
man, Rendezvous. I remember I was fucking sitting at home and watching some fucking show, and a commercial comes on, and you're fucking dead. I'm like, what the fuck? I was like, this is Chronic's track.
yeah,
And like in Adelaide TV shows as well. Like,
yeah, that was a popular one with some syncs too.
It came on like
feel
on
that
fucking
too,
TV.
but, like, that was a great record, man. Working with Leon Thomas was
That was
something else.
so smooth, man.
But yeah, that was
Smooth.
like that was when I was getting into the more. I was trying to take Kronic into a more
Say sophisticated.
ignorant, like place.
It
like,
was, man. Yeah.
making stuff that's not just for the club, making something that says something a bit more. So I did the Sophisticated Ignorance EP, which did pretty well. It didn't get received the way that maybe I wanted it to, but I think people, when you change styles so much, like that's why I changed the Luke to the Luke Wild name, right? Is like because I'm working on Devils on the Loose and songs that are like really, really fucking, really like musical blues sounding records, right? How the fuck is that going to be a Kronic record? You know, like it's one thing to take a song like that and then put a drop to it and it's Have a Drink on Me. It's still made for the club. So that's why I was like, nah, I need to change the name, man. I need to do a switch up. Like, I love what I've done with Kronic and all that stuff. And I'm still am Kronic. But as that whole kind of era, along with the end of, say, like the EDM bubble and you know, like,
you can't just, you can't.
To me, it was like time to like just, you know.
It's what got you to Luke Wild.
Yeah, it's what got me here, you know.
Yeah.
Now there's a next chapter, which I don't even know. We'll talk about that maybe soon, but
you definitely come back, motherfucker.
Yeah,
definitely coming back.
Yeah. But yeah, and then you know, so then I start doing the Luke Wild stuff, which is the shifting gears for me as an artist, right? But that around that time, you know, is when I start working with Usher through Lil Jon, right? So
through the publishing, obviously, you and Lil Jon created.
Well, like no, John was separate. Like, so I'd met him through Phenom.
Right.
It was the same time, but everything I did with John was all just through him. We just kind of built a real tight relationship.
Yeah.
Like, I ended up working with him after Bendover. We did a session in Perth. He was out here playing Good Life Festival. I was playing that too. And so, like, I flew out to Perth. I was only playing, like, the Sydney show because that's where I was. And I was like, he's like, I've got time off in Perth, you know, to come to Perth. I'm like, oh. Went to Perth. That's when we did our first studio session together. Just kind of got along, worked well. I definitely took the approach that I had learned from Paul and, like, just not being overly forceful into things. You know, I was like, I need to play my part here. You know, I know a lot of guys that were in the EDM scene were like, nah, well, this needs to be like this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it was stubborn. Like, nah, I really needed to, like, I was there to help at the start, you know, and then we just kind of, you know, worked well together, you know, and like ever since I've been working on with him, me and John have written hundreds and hundreds of beats. Hundreds and hundreds. That dude works and likes making so much shit.
Reason why he's so successful.
Man.
And he created a whole scene.
Yeah, like, that crunk. He
created that southern crunk.
And that's
shit,
what
man.
brings me to, like, I remember growing up listening to all them records. Yeah, and fucking Get Low and Snap Your Fingers and all that shit, man, playing that shit, having the vinyls,
the Yin
right?
Yang Twins, man.
Yeah, Yin Yang and fuck, bro. And then
he created a whole genre, man, that dude.
Yeah, then to like be that tight with John, working with him, but then in 2018, he's like, yeah, Ush wants to get in again. And I'm like, man, what the fuck? Like, so like that was another starstruck moment for me. It was like, I'm already tight with John, But he's like, let's go. Like Usher wants to work, so you know, we go to fucking the Usher studio. It's me, Usher, JD, Jermaine Dupri, Lil Jon.
Oh, man,
And-
you're So Deaf Studios?
No,
No.
I don't even know if that he has So Deaf.
Yeah.
Well, this wasn't in Atlanta. This was in LA.
Yeah.
And so we're just there, man, and just like that was a really, really, really surreal experience. Like, so was working with John, but then all of them together. Like, I'm sitting there, and they're friends and all, right? But they hadn't worked together in the studio for a while, right? Like,
so you saw that reminiscing stage,
dude. I was just sitting there in the midst of stories about how Yeah was made, and about how Get Low was made, and how they were making the Confessions album. And then I become super tight with Bobby Avila. Shout out to Bobby, who is like works with Usher as like a guitarist musician. He's played on Confessions, played with Prince. This dude played with Prince. Me and Bobby are super tight now. Fucking legend of a dude. They're all just fucking reminiscing about all this shit. I'm in the midst of this while we're working on records for a new Usher project. So like this is like
surreal.
What the fuck is going on? You know, like this is something else to me. You know, like
pinching yourself.
Yeah,
shit.
dude. But also, like, I gotta work, man. Like John works. You know, so he's got his setup here, his MPC and that. I got my setup here. We're both plugged in. One of us is in headphones. The other's making something. He might make something. All right, cool. Send it to me. I start putting it in the Ableton, chopping shit up, adding things. Boom, boom, boom. Well, maybe I'll put headphones on, working. You know, Usher's like, what the fuck, man? You guys made 5 beats already or whatever. Like,
yeah. So
like,
you guys are just feeding off of each other.
Writers coming in. Like, at that time, Usher was like, he was in and out the whole day. Like, we were in for like a bunch of days, but he was in and out. Like, at not even there for the day. We're writing, writers coming in, making beats, doing this, doing it, boom, 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 stepping in, stepping out, falling asleep on the couch, right? To about like midnight or whatever. Then he starts getting in. It's like, it was always like, he lets people cook, then he comes in and he works, and then we all leave. I think he was it. Like, he would stay there till like 9, 10 in the morning recording vocals, you know, like sleep for a bit.
It's crazy. So it's just always 24. It's like
it was,
hours,
it was a 24-hour situation. It's a good way to work if you can work like that for him, right? Like, you know, so he was always there, but he would step out and he'd take the need a break that you need to sleep, you need to rest, you need to chill, you need to do what you need to do, right? But he'd always be in and out and part of the process, you know, like while we're making the beats and that. That was in 2018. None of that stuff came out then. It was, you know, when you work with an artist that big, like I think we were at the start of like the process of him getting back into working on the new stuff, right? And so like we'd done our thing. He goes off and does like works with a bunch of other people. Not sure what's going to happen with. We've got like 10, 15 records with this guy. You know, we even got him with Scott Storch and wrote some beats with him, which was fucking mind blowing to be in with that dude.
I know,
like,
from being such a West Coast.
Watching that motherfucker work, like
you've
seen the video.
You've
seen the video. Like we were in there, like playing beats to him. We made a bunch of drum loops and shit, and like cool little things for him to play over, and he would be in there playing. Right,
cigarette
coming up
now?
with something, a joint. That dude smokes joints. Like he smokes so much weed. He's playing, right, and looking at John and like, oh, you fuck with that? Yeah, cool. All right. Hits record, records it. He's playing the thing, and normally you'd be like, all right, well, we're just gonna loop that. But he doesn't work like that.
He just doesn't.
He just keeps playing it.
Yeah.
Like while we're coming up with other ideas, talking. John's tweaking some drums. I'm tweaking some shit. He sent me something like a recording.
That's
I'm
such a session music.
And he's just playing that. Like this has got thoughts, and he's fucking smoking a joint, talking to someone, whatever, and like flawless. Like that dude must just not stop playing the piano. You know, like So that was fucking surreal. You know. We don't hear though anything back. Like we're like, oh, okay, what's happening? Not sure what is going on with the Usher stuff. Get a call a year later. That must have been the end of 2017, because it was a year later. I get a call from John. He's like, man, Usher's like Usher is booked for this R&B Fridays tour, right? And they're wanting to book me as well to come and do and feature on the show. They want to do it, right? So, and he's like, if this happens, we're gonna put the set together. Usher wants like he wants to do that, and so I'm like, yeah, man, this is sick. Like working on records for him was fire, but then putting a show together, so like it's like, all right, we got to put the set together because he knows that John's a DJ, Usher does, and he's like, like this dude knows how to format music, and now it's featuring him. We want to throw your songs in there and that. So like it was me and John in the studio before we go into Usher. It was me and him in the studio working on like a set. So it's like I'm getting my mixtape hat back on. So I'm downloading all the throwback Usher joints, throwback Lil Jon joints. I'm making this mix with John of all these records for him to fucking perform. That might have been not more fun, but just as fun as making music original. You know what I mean?
Because you're going back to your roots,
you got it bad into Snap Your Fingers. And I'm like, what? While they're there and they're talking about the records and, you know, like then we start the process of putting that show together, which was an incredible amount of work and stressful, but in the best type of way. You know, it was pressure, high pressure, but in the best type of way, you know, like.
How was the tour? Like, what some of the top moments from the tour? Like from creating the show and then, man, I've witnessed it. For you to have some part in it, it was fucking insane. Like, I'm not saying that because you're my mate.
I've got the whole thing on my computer. Like that's
dude. I'm telling you, I've seen an Usher show. I've been to an Usher show, and I said it to Stamart, like Kronic's fucking cousin, the other week. I was like, man, because he missed out. He went away. And
it was something else, man.
Fan.
Like,
yeah, and I go, look, out of all the times I've seen Usher live, that was the best. Yeah. Because you had that element of like. I can't even
say that was me. I'm proud to be able to say I was a part of that.
That's what I mean.
But it was part of it, bro. It was the chemistry of them two together, man.
Where the fuck are you gonna get them to say yeah? Do you know what I mean? Like they perform together, man. Yeah. Like it's great. Yeah. I've seen Lil Jon do it. I've seen Usher do it. But for them to do it together, man, and the way, like, the set was created as one, but separate artists.
Also, just on a side note to that, it was totally coincidental that it was Australia, right? If he had rang me and said, they're putting together this festival in the UK that Usher's, and they want me and him, it was just a coincidence, the R&B Friday. R&B Friday is kind of a genius concept for Australia, man. Like, we know here that we're a bit behind, especially with R&B, all that shit. And it's like, to put all them artists especially some of the lower tier ones, like, that you might not sell out a venue for, but put them all together, give them short sets, and then put a big headliner. Suddenly, this incredible festival. You can put 80,000 people at the Melbourne show. You know what I mean? Like, it's a fucking genius concept. And so to be able to have, but the fact that it was in Australia, Usher did not really realize that it was my hometown. Like, there was this realization moment, I've got it on Instagram, where he's like, man, we're going to Australia. Like, that's your hometown. Like, obviously he knows I'm Australian, but it's not the thing that he remembers me for. Yeah. I'm the guy working with John, we're making beats. It's like, when we were in there, he's like, man, this is going to be fun for you, right? Like, this is your home turf. I'm like, yeah, man, like, this is crazy. Not only am I going on the road with this guy. And you know every motherfucker
from every state.
Well, so John was like, so my job essentially was helping John put the show together, right? So we had put the show together, the track list, made DJ edits of things, and like I'd get the masters of things, and maybe we'll make a flip. We did this really cool flip of like, it was, I forget the name of it. It was one of the Usher records, into Snap Your Fingers, and then like, we just made all these fucking wild mixes. It was a really like mixed. It was a dope show, man.
It was high energy.
Yeah, it was fucking.
And it had its emotional.
Dude, we had Usher was like, when the choreographers came in, they were looking over at us like, you motherfuckers, you're putting this guy to work, because it was non-stop. Usher was performing. He had to run from this side of the stage to this side of the stage. He didn't have many breaks, man. So he was down to it. That motherfucker works, you know? And so, like, my job was done before we got to Australia. You know, we'd put the show together, right? Then it was like the actual sound guy's job to play it all. I was there. But John's like, yeah, you know, like come with, like, one, it's your hometown and you put this together. And if we need to make changes, which we actually didn't, I think we made one change, you know? So, so I'm like, oh, fuck, sick. I still get to come. It's like the pressure's off, essentially.
Yeah.
Right? I get to
This
come.
is your fucking enjoyment
I'm a
time, though, man.
but then John's like, dude, this is your home. Like, this is, all right. Set up the after parties. Like, you know what I mean? Like, oh, yeah, fucking let's, you can show us around. So I became almost kind of like the tour guide as well. So like, we had the week off in between the 2 weekends in the Gold Coast. And, you know, I'd lived there. Like, so I'm ringing up all the friends of the clubs. We're fucking partying. I'll bring Usher and John to the club. And we just, like, oh, man, wild fucking time. The concerts were crazy.
When
John
Captain
DJ
Patron came back out.
Oh, a little bit, yeah. John's a drinker, man. He's way more functional than me. But like that dude drinks, you know, and I don't know how he would do the show on a Friday to say 40,000 people in Perth, DJ the after party, get hammered, we fly to fucking Melbourne, right? Sleep for a couple of hours, go do sound check, do the Melbourne show to 80,000 people, DJ the after party at the casino, fly to Sydney, fly here to Adelaide, sleep for a little bit, do the Adelaide show, DJ the fucking Adelaide after party, fly to fucking Brisbane, go stay, fly to the Gold Coast, go stay in the Gold Coast. He's like, dude, I want to go out Tuesday night. Monday off on Monday, Tuesday out, we go out. I'm like, he's like, it's the Gold Coast, right? This place is a party town. Like, I've heard about this. All right, sick, boom, boom, boom. Make all the phone calls, you know, like set up little parties and shit. We go partying during the week. Fucking then do the same thing all again, Brisbane, Sydney, New Zealand for the last weekend. And it was epic, man.
What was your favorite city? I know that's a hard one to put you on.
Nah, I think my favorite city was Sydney and New Zealand. Sydney was the biggest. Melbourne was the biggest. Sorry. Brisbane and New Zealand. They were the best. I feel like they were just into R&B more. There was some problems at the venue in Melbourne, not with anyone's set, but the sound, with the actual venue. So like the front half of the venue could hear things very well, but you go back suddenly into majority of the crowd, the sound wasn't that quality, right? Like I didn't get back there. I didn't get to hear what was any issues, but
makes a big difference.
Oh
man.
yeah, man.
Huge.
I think people were a bit pissed off at that, you know, like at the concert in general. Like they fixed it the year after, but what are you going to do on that day? But yeah, to me, I think Brisbane was like the most responsive, I think, or Sydney, but like I felt it was Brisbane. And then New Zealand and hip hop are like, it just was something else, man. Like that show was crazy, you know, Naughty by Nature, fucking Trey Songz, Salt and Pepper, fucking then Usher and Lil Jon, like.
Dude, great. And Taylor Cruz was also.
Taylor Cruz was there. Eve.
Yeah, the Rough Rider Queen. Man, that's what I mean. Actually, a really good concert.
Genuine.
Like, yes.
Who's a dope motherfucker.
Yeah,
he was cool as shit.
Will's got Genuine for the after party. HQ or something.
Was that some other venue?
Or somewhere else? Yeah, they did get him though.
He was cool as fuck, Genuine. He was just
smooth,
like fucking humble and down to earth as a motherfucker. Yeah.
And a lot of them are, man. Hey, like.
Oh yeah, man. Like there are some cunts in the industry, but whether it's just luck or I don't know, man. Like I really haven't been around too many fuckwits. Maybe the people that have got me into them rooms have got me in with good people because they're good people. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, and if I do, I've had a few shit things, but nothing that I'm like, it's gonna deter me. I might not work with a motherfucker again. I'll work with people again that I don't really like.
Yeah.
But if their respect. Like, as long as there's a respect there, I don't have to like you. We can actually get some work done. You know what I mean? Like, yeah.
Gotta play the game, Crony. Gotta play the game.
Bro.
But speaking of playing games, I reckon it's come to that time where...
Yeah, man, I haven't shut the fuck up.
No, I fucking love it, bro. What do you mean? You are dropping the best fucking gems in the world. Do you know how excited
What is the
I've
time? How long have we been going for?
I reckon this has been about 2 hours or so. I'm just...
Right.
Yeah, 2.5 hours, motherfucker. And we're just getting into the Mario Kart section of it. So, this is Nintendo 64.
Yeah.
Right? You get one chance at a time trial, fastest lap, and then we're going to put you into the Grand Prix. Right? Krunk fucked you on this one because he did the Flower Grand Prix, which is a harder map. So, there's harder races. But, just so I give you the rundown, bro, you got this. All right? Do you know how to do this? Drive. Brake.
Yeah.
That's to shoot shit. The back trigger. And that's to
turn,
pretty much.
No, what's this do? Shoot
that's
shit.
to shoot. That's to shoot. You know when you collect.
Do you shoot shit on this game?
Yeah.
Dude, I don't play video games, sorry.
Well, you know what? We're gonna have some fucking fun.
What do I press that one?
So go down.
Trials.
Yep. Time trials.
Begin.
Yes. And oh wait. Sorry. I'm throwing myself off here, just so I don't stuff up. For everybody, Paul Marshy came in fucking earlier in the week and absolutely smashed it. So, you need to write your name first, sir. And I'm going to keep track.
Dude, I'm going to lose horrifically.
Look, you know what? And I'm going to be here giving you shit about it until you win. So, yeah, bro, you can pick anyone on the
one player game?
No, so one player game.
Right, yeah. I can't remember the last. What's the start button? Start. Oh, yeah. Whoops, did I press back or some shit?
Yeah, so it's the blue button, bro. Oh, this is gonna be fun, boys. Right, you can pick whoever you want, bro. Luigi.
Who's good? Does it matter?
I'm a big Luigi fan, but it's up to you. Toad's pretty good.
Well, aren't they all equal or something? They should be.
They should all be equal, man. It's personal preference.
I want to be Peach. Ow. Look at her. What do I have to press the flower?
No, so just go back.
Mushroom.
No, go back.
How do you go back?
Wait, no. Sorry, mushroom. Sorry. Yep.
Mushroom?
Yep, mushroom cup. My bad. See, I'm even fucking up now. Luigi's Raceway. So we give you the easiest.
What, accelerate?
That's accelerate. The blue. Yep.
Yeah.
Green is brake.
Yeah, you don't need a brake.
And then if you want to drift as well, this is drift. So that's how you bunny hop. Oh, this is going to be fun, boys. He's got Peach, which, to be honest, Peach is supposed to be the best.
Yeah, look at her.
She's a gun. So in time trial, Cron, you got 3 laps to do your fastest lap.
Do I swear too much?
No, you're a fucking rock star. You should.
Oh, look at me.
So you've got 3 mushrooms that you can use in this round.
What does the mushroom do?
It gives you boost.
Oh,
so
really?
it's like NOS. It's like
How do you do it?
The back trigger. So right in the center, there's a trigger at the back of it.
I can do it how many times?
3 times.
Wait, did Paul Marshman get 48 seconds?
Yeah.
Dude, I'm already at 48 seconds.
Yeah, you're pretty close. You're not doing too bad.
Oh, is that one lap, is it?
That's 1 lap, yeah. So we're doing best lap time, fastest lap time, and then best where you place in a Grand Prix. So he actually fucking came first with 24 points in the last Grand Prix.
Damn.
Which was crazy.
What a dog.
But then if you got the homie Krunk, he got 6.
Fuck
with
Krunk,
6 points.
No, I love Krunk. He's a fucking mad cunt.
He is, man. I love that bloke. So yeah, man, how's all that now? Like where you're at? You know, man, you've been in this game for a long fucking time. You know, obviously you and Krunk have achieved so much. Being homies, like back in Adelaide now. Are you catching up with the boys much? Like,
oh yeah, I'm seeing the crew a lot, which is dope, man.
Because, man, we'd only get to see you. You know, we used to catch up a lot more than once a year.
Yeah, bro.
You know, twice a year.
Like I was saying, with last year was a little tough. Like I was doing a lot of good work, but with the injury, which did also stop me from being able to like train, do like physical training and shit, right? So kind of put me in a fair rut. Had some other issues go on, like I had to go into kind of like physio rehab for my arm and shit. And it only really came good being able to work at a pace that I'm even half of what I was, say, in Feb this year, right? So like this downtime, as bad as it's been for everyone, is that it?
Yep,
it's
that's
like,
it, bro.
Been good for me, you know what I mean? I've been able to take the
48,
time to rehab and work on new shit. So I love being back. I'm itching to get back to work, but I've been making so much stuff in the meantime. Now what? How did I go?
Holy fuck, you were so close, bro.
Did I beat Krunk?
Yeah, you smashed Krunk. So you've got Lockie is 47.82. He's the fastest. Marshy was 48.59. You're 48.66. Crunky is a minute 29. He was really bad, Cron. Sorry, Krunk. Sorry to shit on you every episode, bro.
Did Marshy use marshmallows all 3 in one round? Because that would have got him a lap time faster, right? Because I used 2 in that middle round.
I'm not sure what he actually did.
Is that it?
It can all switch up. No, and then next, so you press start again. Yeah, so go all the way down, course change. No, quick. And then we'd make you do a Grand Prix. So again, Grand Prix now. Oh, sorry, go up. Yep. 150 cc's. Yep.
Is that what Krunk picked?
Yeah, he picked the Flower Cup, which is it's a heart.
So I can be a different person. Nah,
you can be a different person if you want. I'd stick with Peach because, you know, she's peachy.
Flower?
So yeah, Flower Cup, man.
Which one?
Okay. No, you're going to play all 4 of them.
Oh, fuck, bro.
Yeah, good luck. You gotta watch out for the cars as well, because if you hit the cars...
Oh, you can shoot people.
Yeah, you can shoot people on this one.
How many bullets do I have? Is this dumb?
Yeah, you don't get bullets. You get like a star will make you invincible. And you gotta be careful with these cars and shit, because if you hit a bus, you strike out.
You strike?
Well, like you flip out, you know, like you get damage.
Fuck off, you bloody cunt.
Yeah, good old DK wants a bit of Peach.
Yeah, he's just trying to get some pills. That motherfucker.
Oh, I think you got knocked by a banana there, or something fucking happened weird. You're doing pretty good, bro. You're in second.
O'Doyle rules.
O'Doyle rules. Dude, old school. Man, let's flick it off. What is some of your fucking favorite comedies? Like, what on your downtime? Well, what are you watching? I know you're a big Brooklyn Nine-Nine, bro.
I love Brooklyn Nine-Nine. The Mask. Oh, dude, actually, Rick and Morty, bro. Rick and Morty's like the greatest.
Yeah, I love Rick and Morty. I was just watching that before.
Oh, bitch. Rick and Morty's dope.
What's one of your favorite Rick and Morty episodes?
Probably the one, the Rick. The names are fucked. Bro.
Little Rick?
No, the Rickturian Morty date. I'm fucking up here now.
Yeah, you are right. I love throwing motherfuckers off.
The one where they go to the Citadel of Ricks, right, and then Morty becomes the president. Like, it's just so sinister. Yeah. It's so genius. And
yeah, that's a classic.
Like, season 3 is probably my favorite.
I just finished season 3.
Season 4 is alright. Like, there's some gold in there. I think they're almost too smart for their fucking... Fuck off, you dinosaur cunt.
Dude, you're killing it. You got to stay 4th to get points and qualify to the next round.
I'm 5th.
Just so you know. Yeah. Hustle and bustle, motherfucker. Look, I love the Mises. The Mises episode. That's pretty funny.
I just watched that last night, actually.
Mr. Mises. That's crazy. And probably fucking another favorite episode of mine. Has to be the end of the season where they go to the party.
The wedding.
Yeah, the wedding. I think that's pretty funny.
The wedding squanches.
Yeah, hey, Squanch. What are you doing, Squanch? I'm just squanching.
It's such a genius show, though, isn't it? It's
Yeah.
like...
There's so many layers to it, man.
Oh, yeah, bitch, fuck, bitch, fuck.
Oh.
Cunt.
Yeah, them buses get you every fucking time. And Kron has gone from 2nd to 7th. Can he redeem himself?
No, there's no redemption going on here. I hit 2 bananas in a row, bro. Donkey Kong just took me over. Fuck off.
You gotta go into the left, bro. Get some stuff.
Oh, no, I'm good. I'll probably hit a car. No, I'll hit a banana. Shit.
He's sliding all over the place. Not the good kind of drifting. Oh. Are you this bad in real life, Kron, or?
Yeah, nah.
Just in video games.
I'm like Randy Marsh. You know how, like, he shits on Stan and that for playing the guitar hero?
Yeah.
Want to hear some real music, bro?
Yeah.
You remember when Randy was Lord?
Yeah.
Oh,
I know, what the fuck? Bro, how strong is the character has Randy become?
Dude.
In that whole...
Fucking South Park is genius.
Oh, dude, love South Park. Have you watched the latest season?
I'm not really up on the new shit. Like, not that I don't like it. I just...
Same. Man, but the movie, actually, I saw is on Netflix.
I can't talk about fucking too much of my favourite South Park shit because it's just too much of the brutal stuff I like.
You like a raw uncut. I know one of your favourite comedians is Jim Jeffries.
My favourite comedian though is Louis C.K. Like, I know that motherfucker's in some trouble or whatever, but he's not R. Kelly. Just talking about his art, he's the greatest. Am I done?
No, you got to retry it because you didn't.
I thought I got to retry it.
Yeah.
I thought you said 6.
No. You got to get 4th. So then
we're gonna be here for another 2 hours. How many shots do you get?
Well, we never really established that because it's up to you if you wanna give up.
No, I can be a loser. I don't mind. What, do I give up now? Or?
No. It's all on you. If you want to keep going, you keep going. We want you to fucking win.
Where did the other guys go at this point?
Well, I think Lockie from Bonker, he had to do the course 4 times. One of the courses 4 times in a row. But he got there in the end. I'm hoping the same for you. It's just about getting down and focusing. Yeah, you got it. Oh!
Fuck you, bitch! What's the starter?
So if you click that, it makes you invincible, man.
How do you click it?
The back trigger. So you can go through cars. Click it! Oh, you should have clicked it.
Bitch. Fucking what?
So yeah, your index.
So you go faster.
Yeah, you go faster and you can drive through. Yep, that's that little tune.
Fuck.
So what's one of the first consoles you ever played? Do you remember that?
No, I was never into video games, man. Probably this game. But I think I gave up around Diablo. Remember Diablo? Anybody remember that game?
Yeah.
No, I don't remember it. Sorry, bro.
That shit was dope, man. It was like...
It was like Doom and shit.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I know Doom.
I don't know, like, from the start, right, like, I've realised that I spend way too much time looking at screens, that to get into video games with the amount that I work on music is probably a stupid idea.
Yeah. What do you do fitness wise, man? Because I know you're pretty full on about your fitness and stuff.
I have had to change all of that shit. Right now, I'm really doing like kind of rehab cardio for my... What the hell happened?
Oh, they shrunk you down. Someone must have got like isn't it the thunder? Yeah, it's like a thunder cloud. Shrinks everyone down. You got this, man. You got speed. You just got to stay in the 4th. If you keep 4th, man.
Come on, Bowser, you stupid fucking dinosaur.
Don't hit the car!
I've been going to that Derrimut's gym.
Yeah, Derrimut.
Derrimut.
Can
It's the best name, bro. Derrimut. Like,
Derrimut, that's for sure.
Derrimut. I mean, I don't know how else to pronounce it.
Yeah, I don't know what to say. I'm gut fact. It's pretty good. I never thought
They
of it
got
like
some
that.
like good fitness classes which I've been going to, which like because I can't do any of the HIIT training I was doing. Like I was doing like kind of an equivalent to F45 in LA.
And you were
but-
hiking full on as well, weren't you?
Yeah, but I got like along with the problem in my arms, I've got some like shit in my feet too. Like it was a fucking bad physical year. What's that? I thought that was like
Oh, I think that was a dud. Someone planted that there.
what a dog.
Yeah, it's a bit of a dog move.
Bitch,
Oh, look, man, you need it.
I've got no hope, eh?
Oh, you
Wait,
still, you're
I'm
in fourth.
fourth.
You're in fourth. Hit him. Press the trigger.
Nah, bro.
Oh,
hit that
shit.
ball.
Don't hit the fucking bus. Don't hit the bus. Hit the... If he gets in front of you, you got to hit that fucking trigger, bro. Don't let him get in front of you. You're right on the home stretch. You got this. Do not hit that fucking bus. Oh! Dude, actually pretty fast lap time. 1:15. That's pretty decent. So, like, you can get it. Look, hitting the fucking cars, that's what fucks you. Man, I actually started...
Does it get
playing-
harder from here?
Every course has its own hardness. That makes sense.
How did I fare compared to the others?
You're doing better than Kronic right now. Let's just put it that
Well,
way.
matters. Now what do I
You've
press?
got 1 point.
Start? No?
Yeah, just start or play or the...
Like, how many
The blue
of
button.
these...
You got 4 courses.
Holy shit.
So then you got to do the snow course.
Move, you stupid...
After that is another one.
Wait, where am I even going? I can't see.
Yeah, we had this debacle, me and Will, earlier. You've got to kind of really pay attention to it. I just look at the other drivers, to be honest. I try not to get first because it just fucks me.
Or is it just because that you can't?
Yeah, I just suck. I actually was like, man, I need to start doing this, and I didn't get through all the rounds, FYI.
What?
Yeah, you're off course, Kron. You gotta go straight. Follow the... Yeah, there you are. Follow back over. Left. Yep. I did the exact same thing. We might be running into trouble here, boys, at this course.
I have to give up, man. I'm out.
You're out.
I'm out. I don't know what I'm doing.
Kron's forfeiting.
Like, where do I go?
Look.
I can't see. There's only one way.
Press start.
There's only one way I know how to get out of a pile of snow. And that's not through.
I don't know. We're having some technical difficulties here. All right, Miles, smart man. We're just switching up the brightness here. We'll be able to cut this shit out
What?
anyway. Benny, what's up?
What are tattoos you got on your leg?
That's just the chick with a knife.
Represent it, bro.
GDR from like Japanese stuff.
Where'd you get? Are they here from Adelaide? All right, I gotta ask you about that later.
Alright, done. Alright, you'll be able to see, yeah, you can see the road now.
Yeah. Why did you?
All right.
Sorry guys, I didn't realise the price was so high on it.
All right, so got a big fuck you to Miles. He rolled us. It wasn't just me, all right. So Will needs to take back all the shit he was giving me before
Should
the
I just
show.
start this one again though? Because like I'm.
Look, you're gonna have to retry it anyway. We actually, nah, see, you can't. You gotta,
Why do I have to do the whole thing again?
yeah. We didn't know, we actually didn't know if that happened.
All right, fine.
You gotta do 150 cc's, you only did 50.
No, I didn't. We're on 150 cc.
Nah, you're only on 50.
Oh, all right. How do you go back?
Sorry, bro. So Kron has just technically fucked himself. If it wasn't the longest interview, it's gonna be the longest interview. Oh fuck! I don't even.
How did I go? Was I was it longer than everybody else's?
Nah.
Oh,
What the fuck?
good.
I don't even know what I'm
Blabbed
doing.
on.
Narrow it down.
Is 50 easier?
It's
No?
slower. It's more boring.
Oh.
Now just flower cup. Just keep pressing the. Is it the blue? Yeah, blue.
Again, do I?
See, at least you'll be able to see a lot more now. Yeah, you've already played this course, Cron, so you kill it the first time again. See, this is when I say we're real Joe Rogan-esque, as the sense of we just let things roll.
Move, bitch. What does the mushroom do?
Makes you go faster. It's like Nos.
Fuck you, bitch.
She's fucking fast, man.
Oh no.
So, man, since you've been back in Adelaide and like been working in Australia now, like what are the things that you're working on? Can you speak a little bit about that, or
Yeah,
is that
well,
still on the
yes,
on the
I've been
low? Like,
working a lot.
only say what you feel comfortable, but
I've still been working a lot with John, right? Sending a few things back and forth. Not heaps because, like, he does like work together. Like, there's some stuff he's sending off to some artists, which is pretty fucking fire. He is, he's getting a bit of a wind back, man. Like, you've seen all these like records come out that are like, you know, like My Type by Megan Thee Stallion or Tap In by Saweetie.
Yeah.
Like sampling his old records. So like there's this kind of
press the shoot if you want, bro.
oh yeah, fuck you cunt. There's this
It's fucked up Donkey Kong.
resurgence of like crunk music, I feel. Which is so
It's
dope,
coming
man.
back, bro.
Like,
The South is
there's
popping.
been enough time that shit, like, I really picture, I can hear Travis Scott and Lil Jon.
Oh,
You know what I
dude.
mean? I can hear that record to me. I can hear, you know how Sheck West is kind of hype like that?
Bro, what a...
Imagine Lil Jon, like, imagine, you know how, like, Travis kind of has a reminiscent feel sometimes?
Yeah.
Especially some of his Houston South sounding records that, what the fuck? Oh.
Man, what about even him with Lil Wayne? He was on Lil Wayne's album, man. Travis Scott and Lil Wayne.
Travis Scott is dope as
Dude.
fuck. Fuck you, dinosaur.
Fuck, Bowser rolled you.
Um,
You got this, Cron. You can still definitely come back, bro. You're only in 6th.
so, as
So press
for the,
that, yeah. Fuck these motherfuckers up. Now you'll be able to gain a lot more. Just don't hit them fucking cars.
as for the Luke Wild stuff, I've kind of put that on the back burner a little bit, right? Just because I want to really focus on Swamp as an artist,
Yeah.
right? And now that I've kind of got my arms back to be able to work, it sounds weird saying to get my arms back. I've been working on a lot of hip hop beats, right? I'd love to be a producer. I'd love to be able to write records for like a Travis Scott or someone like that, right?
Yeah.
And so I'm starting this project called Dog, D-A-W-G, which I launched a couple of years ago. And I was making trap.
Doggy.
Yeah, I was making trap music.
Oh!
Bitch.
Shoot
But-
that thing! Shoot that thing! Shoot it!
But
Bro, you have to make around these bends. Keep on this 4th so you can qualify to the next round. 3rd was where you were before. Sorry to cut you off. Oh shit, watch out!
how the hell are you gonna get through there?
You got this, you got this.
I could have just braked. Hey, fuck off, fuck off.
Oh,
fuck
let
off,
them fuck. As long as you make it through this bend.
ass little mushroom fucker.
Yeah.
Cool.
Actually got better lap time, man. 1:14. Second lap. That was a good lap time. Yeah, sorry, continue.
I'm kind of keeping that separate from the Kronic shit. Like,
Yeah.
when I first launched it, I was like keeping it a secret, because like I didn't want like the Kronic reputation to tarnish their new brand, which, you know, as proud as I am of what I've done, it can do that, you know what I mean?
Or can just isolate you into a certain box, or
Yeah, you know, like Triple J might not play me because
Yeah.
I've done pop shit or whatever, I don't know.
yeah,
But I don't really give a fuck anymore, like, and I'm just going to do this project, and I'm taking the approach of making rap beats as if they were to pitch to people, right? But posting them like they're singles, using Spotify almost like a social media platform.
yeah.
I download the shit myself, upload the shit myself. I'm going totally independent with it. You know, I'm just gonna make the record short, like a couple of minutes long. Doesn't matter. Oh fuck off.
It's crucial here. You still good, bro? Watch out for those stone men because they fuck you up. Start
What's
hitting the
these
car.
things around me?
They're just they're shells that you can
They're
shoot,
fuck a
but you
bitch
gotta be
up
careful
things.
because they can. So the red ones are target ones. If you shoot them, they'll definitely hit the next player in front of you. Those ones they'll shoot, but they can hit you. They just go everywhere.
They can hit me, but what if people?
They just shoot straight.
What if people hit me?
So
They
if you
just
hit
get
random like that, they'll
knonked.
hit people.
You little bitch, get away from banana.
What? Sorry, you got 3 nosses to use, man. After that shell.
After the shell. Oh,
Yeah, you gotta shoot the shell if you want to, but you don't have to.
This one. Fuck, hey.
Wait until the next one. I think the next one's the worst, bro.
What? We're not gonna get to the next one. Not with me behind the
Yeah,
wheel.
if you don't want to, yeah, that's for damn sure.
I'm about to give up. You guys got any food here?
It's gonna break my heart.
I do.
Do you?
Yeah, what do you want? I can sort something out.
Lie. I don't know.
What are you feeling, Con?
Like something snacky.
I've got like nuts or chips or. Honestly,
I'm just gonna shoot this thing.
Oh, you poor bastard. Look, you are having a bad time. I'm not gonna say you're having a great one, but you can come back. All right, shout out everybody.
I'm out.
Connor's the first one. He's bailed, boys.
Oh.
Peach with a big fat fucking 0. Look, I love you for trying though, man. Alright, top 3 TV shows. What's your top 3 TV shows?
It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, I think, is my favorite TV show ever. I don't really get really nostalgic on TV shows. So Rick and Morty.
Yep.
And then maybe Entourage. Hey,
I was fucking waiting
Like,
for it. I'm like, that's had a big
I mean,
influence on
I'd
us, bro.
say like first, if you could like separate the Simpsons into like the first half Simpsons and then the new Simpsons, which is garbage, then the first Simpsons has got to be in there because like old Simpsons is
Yeah, man. 6 o'clock every fucking night, man. And
classic.
did you used to watch Cheese TV?
Maybe I can't remember.
Like right in the morning was like Cheese TV. That's where all the cartoons were, like fucking
Like Ren
Dragon
and
Ball Z
Stimpy and shit.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. Well, Ren and Stimpy, nah, they were Nickelodeon, weren't they?
Oh, I don't know. I
But yeah.
can't remember.
Yeah. Wind it back. Kron, there's so much more that we can talk about, man. There's so many more stories, and there's so many people that you've worked with. The 2 things I just have to say, you're so fucking inspiring for, like, me as a mate and as an artist, you know, being an Adelaide artist. It's so inspiring just hear all the stories, and they're so motivating for if you didn't want to if you were feeling like you're in a rut through these COVID times and you didn't want to fucking do any more music, speaking to you, bro, always makes me want to do more music.
Cheers,
You
man.
know what I mean? I hope
Dude,
people get that,
like,
you know, things like that out of
if you're
this.
in a rut during this COVID time, like, it is take the fucking advantage of it. You know, like, there is a lot that can be done on your own. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot you can build. I know it is hard. Like, I know it is. And, like, with everything shut down, and it can fuck with people financially, like, on that side of it.
Yeah.
But when it comes to your creativity and, like, I think there's a new shift happening, and there's never been a time, even just before COVID, right? But there's never been a time like this where you can actually do everything yourself. I feel like this social media influencer like lane
The streaming
came,
and stuff, yeah.
and not that it's taken over, but it's formed its own lane. But it's also allowed like a lot of artists. You don't have to be a social media influencer to be an artist.
Yeah.
A fucking, even though a lot of people say that, that's its own thing. It's dope, but it's its own thing, and you can combine the two, but you can use that to your advantage. You know, like this next project I'm gonna do is kind of, I mean, me and Matt are doing it, but it's totally independent, man. Like I'm gonna do it all myself, and you can do it. Like this, like the amount of information that you can get on YouTube tutorials, all that shit, you can do and build everything yourself. So if you have the possibility, take advantage of being able to like be locked down in that. Like along with situations lining up with this COVID shit for me in a way, right? Being back here at the right time, having to deal with things, right? Along with that, like being a creative and working in that career, like living without security has been my life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? My career has never been secure, ever. You know what I mean? This don't scare me. Like,
yeah, so
I'm always scared.
Up and down.
Do you know what I mean?
Right.
Like, I'd rather live a life that people say is risky and like, oh, music, you'll never make that shit. Like, no, what the fuck you mean, man?
But the proof,
Michael Jackson was pretty rich, I think.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
in the end,
watch Defiant Ones. Watch Defiant Ones if you want ultimate inspiration, man.
Yeah.
Jimmy Iovine and Dr. Dre, like, you know what I mean? There's
watch this motherfucking interview if you want some
exactly
inspiration.
though, man.
Yeah,
but you know what I mean? Like, there's so much. There's not a fucking another industry that has more public examples of success than the entertainment industry, because the success is the entertainment. So like, I've never understood that. Oh, that you shouldn't get into music. Do something like that. You'll never make it. You can't make money in that. What?
Especially now, people are saying that as well. Like, you know, you hear it a lot more because, you know, it was the ones I feel, and I got to speak up for a lot of people in the entertainment industry. You know, bro, so many people. Like, we always got our hand out to help those ones. When something goes on, the entertainment industry is always there. You know, and a lot of people in the entertainment industry now, in pubs and hospitality, they feel like they've just been forgotten about.
Yeah, you know, bro. I feel like the government
there are some things
fucking giving up more money to be more lenient on the hospitality and entertainment industry. I feel that burn.
We went out, bro,
I feel that burn for sure. Yeah,
you know?
man. Like,
and it is sad how we aren't getting enough support. I feel that there definitely needs to be more, or some
100%.
changes need to fucking happen now, man. It's like it's too late. Like, you know, it just keeps lingering and lingering.
The length of it is the real damaging thing I find. Yeah. I'm now I'm being like, what, man? Come on, what the fuck? Like, what's gonna happen? How much longer are we gonna be like this? Because, like, we need to get back to work.
Yeah.
We need to get back to life. You know.
Yeah, you need to get back to touring, man. You need to get back to fucking...
But in the meantime, like, I don't know. There's still a lot of good music coming out. Still a lot of good art coming out. And if you can do it, just, I don't know, you just got to find inspiration in anything you can. Often, like, real good art comes out of struggling times anyway. You know, like, not often, majority of the time.
Yeah.
Like, the best art comes out of
the struggle, man.
It's how do you make diamonds? Like, pressure. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, that's...
Motherfuckers onto something here.
Yeah.
Man, look, again, I just gotta say, I'm so blessed that the stars have aligned to be able to have you in the studio and chatting face to face, man. I'm glad that it's not over a Zoom call or fucking, you know. And
yeah, bro, this was fun. Like, I haven't done the podcast before. Bro.
Yeah. Well, man, this is the biggest reason. Like, I probably say it every episode now, but, you know, with everything going down, I couldn't be hosting in the clubs and things like that. And, man, I love to know why you did what you did. And I know there's so many people that don't get the opportunity to ask you these questions. So I'm like, fuck it. These are my homies.
And-
I got a platform.
Yeah, hard.
Let's fight. Let's
Reach
give
out,
people
like
some
people
gems,
can reach out. Like I'm whack at replying, but
Yeah.
I do try.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean? Like you just gotta hustle, like, and get used to hearing no's. Like that's and not get like personal about it. Like that's what I've learned a lot. Like, a lot that came from like really a solid message of that, which has been taught to me by many instances in the industry, is when I would get press PR for like a song coming out, and you like put all this money to getting press and getting sent out to like blogs and papers and radio, and then you don't get anything, right? But often what happens is the people that they're sending it to are being your name is being put in front of them, right? So you're getting a no, essentially. But it's like exposure. Just keep at it, man. Keep pushing, keep pushing. Like people got to hear your name a few times before they're like, oh, let me take notice of it. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you just keep hammering away at it, and just if you think something is dope, there's chances are someone else will. So like, question yourself at every turn, but also believe in yourself. Don't undervalue doubt.
So let's put it, what's your last final words, man? This is the last final question for the show. For anyone that's out there, just, man, or something that's helped you, what are your final words?
Follow your passion. Work hard as a motherfucker. Don't push yourself as hard as you fucking can and work to the bone, but then also value rest, value patience, value time off. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I've done so much pushing myself to the limit, which has negatively benefited me. And then times when I've had, like, you need to take your breaks. Value breaks. You know what I mean? Value your patience. Value like that time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I feel like there's a lot of messaging coming out where it's like work hard, non-stop, don't sleep when you're dead, that type of shit. And I'm all for all of that, but you can't forget to rest, recover, and like that shit is so fucking important, man.
Yeah.
Like and build patience, and valuing the downtime. So you want to be performing at 100%. And like if anyone that's into like fitness, like you need your recovery.
You need rest, yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, man. Like I kind of truly think it's something that is like undervalued. It's not talked about enough. You got all these Gary V's who are like, I want to sleep 4 hours a week. It's like, man, one, you're lying, or two, you're a different species. Because,
yeah, exactly.
Like
portraying unrealistic pictures,
man, I'm not built like that. Maybe it's just me, but I'm personally physically not built like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? When I'm tired, I'm fucked. I've watched a lot of like podcasts and lectures on fucking like the science of sleep and that shit, and like how detrimental it is to you if you do not get enough sleep, and how you're physically impaired by like percentages that are like similar to the level of being drunk if you are fucking sleep deprived, right? So we need to value that just as much as you want to be performing at 100%. So get the rest that you need to do, and then like you come back. And rest is not just sleep, but sometimes you got to step away from your work. There's been so many times that I've made something one night, worked on something for hours, this is whack. Wake up the next day, fuck, that was actually good, or vice versa.
Yeah.
So you know what I mean, like perspective and distance, and
It's a constant grind.
Yeah. But that's that.
Con, we gotta leave it at that, man. Thank you so much again.
Cheers, bro.
This motherfucker is a legend. And I'm just so blessed to have you in the Laidback Studio. No, bro, it's fucking great. And that's the whole point of the platform, is to fucking give you props.
Yeah.
Man, the biggest thing is like, what I love about Drink Champs so much, what we're talking about at the start, is that they praise people that have been in the industry for so long.
Yeah.
Dude, it's hard. Motherfuckers don't last a year in it. And you've lasted a decade, man. You know, that like, and longer, like, I have to give you props for that.
Cheers,
you know
bro.
what I mean? You've
That
been,
open mind, man. That's another thing. Like
You know?
you got to keep that. Like
but you're not
open-minded.
stopping, man. And like, dude, I just like, man, you rock it with fucking the people we've looked up to. You know what I mean?
yeah.
And,
Sometimes my life is a dream.
It's hard work. But dude, people need to be hearing this shit, and that's why I'm just so blessed that you came down and spit some fucking game.
So thanks for having me, man.
Yeah, laid back,
Fuck
we
yeah.
out.
I'm fucking wrecked
Sorry, man,
after
I
that.
know that was
That was
yeah,
dope.
so intense.
Yeah.
We talked so much.